Chapter 580. Outer Sea, Spirit Beast Island. Inside the cave. Longao waited for 10 days before taking the risk to return to the cave. The Heavenly Way clone was confident that as long as he was around, no one would be able to enter the cave again and take away anything in the cave, especially the origin energy that his master valued the most. However, the Heavenly Way clone never expected that this person would return. Not only did he look down on him, but he also looked down on his master. As soon as Longao stepped into the cave, he immediately shot towards the five-clawed golden dragon. Longao knew very well in his heart that he only had one chance and not much time. In other words, the longer he delayed, the more disadvantageous it would be for him. When he arrived in front of the five-clawed golden dragon, Longao smiled in surprise and immediately placed the skeleton into the dragon seal space. Before Longao could react, a terrifying force suddenly shot towards him from all directions and hit him squarely. With a groan, Longao's body flew out. At this moment, the Heavenly Way clone suddenly appeared. The corner of his mouth curled into a sneer as he cursed, "Damn it, I'm just a decoration. Today, I'll let you experience the feeling of living a life worse than death." The Heavenly Way clone originally thought that a super expert would dare to do this, but he never expected that the other party was just a mere half-step saint. Just as the Heavenly Way clone was about to make a move, his eyes suddenly narrowed because he realized that the warrior he had just knocked down had suddenly disappeared. In the next second, Longao's body appeared outside the tunnel. Until now, Longao still had some lingering fear because if it wasn't for the desolate divine physique, he believed that he would have died. The Heavenly Way clone was indeed powerful. Not daring to stay any longer, Longao quickly shot out and used spatial teleportation. In the blink of an eye, he had already disappeared into the tunnel. Teleportation? He didn't believe that a mere half-step saint could teleport, but the Heavenly Way clone didn't dare to relax. If he couldn't catch the other party this time, he would be in big trouble once his master returned. First, he allowed the other party to successfully take away the origin energy. Now, he even took away the five-clawed golden dragon. The Heavenly Tao clone's expression was extremely gloomy. The Heavenly Tao avatar immediately gave chase. Just like that, Longao and the Heavenly Tao avatar, one in front and one behind, moved so fast that not even their shadows could be seen. "Brat, I'll tear you to shreds today." Longao could not be bothered with the Heavenly Tao's clone. With a backhand slash, a terrifying saber gleam slashed out like a shooting star. The Heavenly Law avatar did not expect that the other party would dare to take the initiative to attack. However, the Heavenly Law avatar's strength was already comparable to the five-clawed golden dragon, or even stronger. He easily dodged the attack. However, in just a few seconds, Longao's figure had already disappeared. Spatial teleportation was a powerful martial skill that Longao had comprehended after breaking through to the second revolution of the 9 revolutions reincarnation technique. It was likely that no one in this world could possess such a superb martial skill. Longao did not dare to clash head-on with the Heavenly Tao avatar. He used spatial teleportation 10 times consecutively, not giving the Heavenly Tao avatar the slightest chance. In fact, according to the Heavenly Tao avatar's strength, if he had not been careless, he would not have fallen to such a state. There was not the slightest aura in the surroundings. It was impossible to know where the other party had gone. If the five-clawed golden dragon could not be found and the person could not be captured, how would he explain it to the director? Thinking of this, the Heavenly Tao avatar's expression became even colder. Until now, he still could not figure out who this person was. After all, under normal circumstances, a half-step saint was just a trash in his eyes. 1,000 meters away. With the help of spatial teleportation, Longao could be considered to have completely shaken off the Heavenly Tao avatar for a short period of time. However, he did not relax in the slightest because the Heavenly Tao avatar was too powerful. As long as the Heavenly Tao avatar caught up, he would have no chance to escape. At this moment, Longao found it hard to imagine how powerful the Heavenly Tao avatar was. Not to mention the Heavenly Tao avatar's strength. Just the Heavenly Tao avatar's strength was so terrifying. With just one strike, Longao could clearly feel that the heavenly Tao avatar was enough to kill his old ancestor. However, one must know that the old ancestor was already a divine realm martial artist and could be considered to be standing at the peak of the divine realm. Even so, Longao still had this feeling that the old ancestor did not even have the chance to make a move in front of the heavenly Tao avatar. He did not dare to imagine. Longao took a breath. After using spatial teleportation 10 times consecutively, his soul was already extremely weak. If he was unable to completely shake off the heavenly Tao avatar in a short period of time, then there would only be one result. Master, go towards the east. Without suspecting Long Fu, Longao turned around and immediately shot towards the east. On the way, Longao finally understood what Long Fu meant. Although Long Fu could help Longao hide his aura to the point that even the heavenly Tao could not sense it, the current situation was completely different. Because Longao had used spatial teleportation 10 times consecutively, his soul was very weak. He was unable to hide his aura at all and not be discovered by the heavenly Tao avatar. The meaning was very simple. Longao had to combine his soul and cooperate with Long Fu to be able to hide his aura. However, Longao himself was unable to do so now. It was precisely because of this that Long Fu's method was very simple. It was to let Longao find the sacred beast and then use the sacred beast's aura to conceal his own aura. This way, the heavenly Tao avatar might not be able to find him. This method was not 100% foolproof, but Longao was very clear in his heart that in this situation, he had no other choice but to stake it all on this one throw. Sure enough, Longao followed the east direction and found no less than 10 sacred beasts. If it was just the aura of one sacred beast, it would be very difficult to conceal his own aura. However, there were dozens of sacred beasts, and there was even a second-level sacred beast. This way, the success rate would be infinitely higher. Longao did not dare to hesitate in the slightest, because the heavenly Tao avatar's strength and speed were incomparably powerful. If he was slightly negligent, he would fall into eternal damnation. Although this time it was very dangerous and he almost lost his life, Longao did not regret it. This was because not only did he obtain the 5-clawed golden dragon's corpse, he also helped Longchong obtain the divine pill. This way, it could be said to be killing 2 birds with 1 stone. Opportunity and danger coexisted. This was the truth that Longao had always pursued. Longao did not have any conflict with the sacred beasts. According to Longao's cautiousness, as long as he did not take the initiative to attack, it would be very difficult for the 10 sacred beasts to discover his tracks. After all, the strength of the 10 sacred beasts was not on the same level as the heavenly Tao avatar. In a short while, the heavenly Tao avatar had already arrived, but he had lost track of Longao. With the heavenly Tao avatar's strength, of course he could sense the aura of the sacred beasts here. It was precisely because of this that the heavenly Tao avatar's expression was very solemn. The more solemn it was, the more difficult it was to sense the aura. Chapter 581. Heaven's avatar scanned for a few minutes and couldn't sense Longao's aura. He turned around and chased in another direction. Longao heaved a sigh of relief. No matter what, Heaven's avatar still didn't discover him. However, Longao didn't dare to act rashly. Who knew if Heaven's avatar would come back to play with him? Longao knew that luck played a large part in successfully snatching the 5-clawed golden dragon and divine pill. Longao passed the divine pill to Longchong. Then, he communicated with Longchong for a while before being summoned by Long Fu. In the dragon seal space, Master, with Longchong's current strength, he can't refine and swallow the golden dragon divine pill that you just obtained. Once he forcefully assimilates it, he will only explode and die. Nodding, Longao seemed to have guessed it and said, "Don't worry, I've already communicated with the little guy. For the time being, the little guy won't swallow the golden dragon divine pill." How could Longao not know about Long Fu's worries? However, the 5-clawed golden dragon's strength was only second to the primordial divine dragon. The divine pill was very terrifying. If Longchong chose to swallow it at this time, he would definitely explode. Longao had already thought of this. Longao and Long Fu chatted for a while and didn't leave. Sitting quietly under the tree, Long Ao began to cultivate his soul. As he used spatial teleportation more and more frequently, he discovered a problem. Spatial teleportation couldn't be maintained for a long time. Long Ao was looking forward to spatial teleportation. Currently, spatial teleportation could only teleport a distance of 1 meter. If he could teleport 100 meters, 1,000 meters, or even 10,000 meters, or even across the entire outer sea, then why would he need to be afraid of divine Tao? However, if he wanted to teleport for a long time and increase the distance, he had to continuously strengthen his soul power. There was no other way. Long Ao could only cultivate the soul martial technique that Long Fu taught him. However, this speed was simply too slow. Teleportation was Long Ao's greatest trump card. If not for spatial teleportation this time, Long Ao knew that it would be too difficult to avoid the pursuit of the heavenly Tao and its avatar. Thinking of this, Long Ao re-entered the dragon seal space and went straight to the point. Long Fu, I need to continuously strengthen my soul force. Can you help me refine more soul force? Nodding, Long Fu said, with your current situation, spatial teleportation is indeed Master's trump card. However, 100 meters of spatial teleportation is indeed not enough. Therefore, during this period of time, I have been helping you store soul power. If Master can devour it, you can at least double your spiritual power. Double? Hearing Long Fu's words, Long Ao was overjoyed. Immediately after, Long Ao felt a frightening amount of soul power enter his body. Not daring to hesitate, he decided to hide for a while. In any case, he could use this time to improve his soul power. The stronger one's soul was, the more powerful one's teleportation would be, and the more terrifying one's soul attack would be. They were interlocked. Fusing souls might seem simple, but it was actually extremely difficult. Long Ao quietly stayed in the dragon seal space to fuse souls, while the heavenly Tao's avatar frantically searched the spiritual beast island. In a short hour, it had already searched the spiritual beast island 5 to 6 times, but there was still no clue. 6 hours later, in the cave, Master, this is what happened. I can confirm that the other party is only in the Sage-to-be realm. Slap. Before the heavenly Tao's avatar could finish speaking, the heavenly Tao's avatar ruthlessly slapped him. If it wasn't for the fact that the heavenly Tao's avatar was painstakingly refined, the heavenly Tao's avatar would have been destroyed long ago. It would be fine if it was an accident once, but it was an accident twice. Damn, it would be strange if he wasn't furious. The heavenly Tao had never told anyone about the use of the 5-clawed golden dragon, not even his avatar. The 5-clawed golden dragon was a supreme existence second only to the immemorial divine dragon. The heavenly Tao had killed a 5-clawed golden dragon with great difficulty and forcefully erased its soul in order to refine a puppet, a 5-clawed golden dragon puppet. The heavenly Tao's intention was simple. As long as the 5-clawed golden dragon puppet was refined and fused with the chaotic qi, its strength would be comparable to his own. At that time, even if someone had fused with the origin energy, he wouldn't be afraid. But all of this was broken today. The heavenly Tao was furious. First, the origin energy was taken away, and then the skeleton of the 5-clawed golden dragon was snatched away. He originally thought that with the avatar's protection, unless those people personally took action, the avatar would be able to look down on everything in this world. This person is very sinister. He actually concealed his strength. The heavenly Tao was almost certain that this person couldn't be a sage-to-be. Otherwise, it would be impossible for him to escape the pursuit of the avatar. The heavenly Tao was very clear that the reason this person hid his strength was to hide his identity. Who was it? Previously, the heavenly Tao had already looked for those people, including the immemorial Qilin of the Qilin clan. However, the heavenly Tao still couldn't find out who had moved the origin energy. In fact, the heavenly Tao knew that it was impossible for these people to do this because he was always paying attention to their movements. If they had taken away the origin energy, it was impossible for him not to know. Master, what should we do now? This person has been plotting for a long time. First, he fused with the origin energy, and then took away the skeleton of the five-clawed golden dragon. If nothing unexpected happens, this person wants to deal with me. However, it's not easy for this person to fuse with the origin energy. The heavenly Tao vaguely remembered how much effort it had taken for him to fuse with the origin energy. It could be said that it was a narrow escape. In the end, he still relied on luck to complete the last step. Otherwise, he would have been devoured by the origin energy long ago. Therefore, the heavenly Tao heaved a sigh of relief. Even if this person could fuse with the origin energy, who knew how long it would take? So he had a lot of time to find this person. The heavenly Tao had decided that no matter what happened, he had to find this person. Daring to touch the origin energy and the skeleton of the five-clawed golden dragon was simply courting death. Guard this place well for me. If there is a third time, I will refine you again. Yes, master. The clone was shocked and respectfully retreated to the side. The heavenly Tao took a deep look at the cave, as if he didn't care anymore. He immediately released his chi shield and wrapped the entire cave inside and out again. The heavenly Tao was completely afraid. Even if he was discovered, he didn't care. At most, he would be busy, but he definitely wouldn't let this kind of thing continue to happen. He could accept it once, but if it happened a few more times, even the heavenly Tao wouldn't be able to accept it. Therefore, after thinking about it, the heavenly Tao still chose to use his own power to seal all the origin energy. As long as those people didn't personally take action, he believed that there should be no problem. Chapter 582. It wasn't easy to refine soul power in a short period of time. Longao focused all of his attention on refining and increasing his soul power. It could be said that once his soul power doubled, not only his soul attacks, even his spatial teleportation would be greatly improved. Whether it was soul attack or spatial teleportation, it could be said that they were all Longao's trump cards. It was because of this that Longao couldn't wait to increase his soul power. 10 days passed in the blink of an eye. Longao made sure that the heavenly law avatar had left and returned to the cave. Only then did he leave quietly. This time, Longao didn't linger. After killing a sacred beast, he immediately left Spirit Beast Island. However, he used another exit, even though it was a long detour. Cloud Island. The master of the Holy Land, Yang Chun, rushed to the Long family with 3 half-saint elders, Kongli, Songren, and Xie. The 4 of them didn't enter. They stood outside the Long family and waited quietly. Long Jin and Long Bai jumped in fright when they heard that the master of the Holy Land had personally come. Of course, they knew why the 4 half-saint martial practitioners of the Holy Land had come to the Long family. Long Jin and Long Bai's expressions were dark to the extreme. After all, the 4 half-saint martial practitioners of the Holy Land could easily destroy the Long family, or even the entire Cloud Island. Master Yang, we are honored by your presence. Please come in. Yang Chun waved his hand. He didn't care about Long Bai and Long Jin at all. He couldn't even be bothered to say anything. If it wasn't for Longao killing Zhodian this time, Yang Chun probably wouldn't have appeared in the Long family in this generation. I want to see Longao. As expected, Long Bai and Long Jin's expressions turned even uglier when they heard that Yang Chun wanted to see Longao. It had been more than half a month since Longao left Cloud Island. Even their own sons might not know where he was, let alone them. What should they do? Although Yang Chun and the others didn't say anything, the 2 of them couldn't clearly sense the invisible killing intent coming from them. But after thinking about it, it made sense. As the #1 overlord of the Cloud Island, who would dare to offend the Saint Lands? Zhodian had been killed on the Cloud Island. This was like the sacred ground being slapped hard in the face. As the overlord of the Cloud Island, how could the sacred ground swallow this insult? Master Yang, Master Long left half a month ago and hasn't returned yet. So, waving his hand, Yang Chun interrupted Longao and said coldly, since Longao is not here, then hand Longhung over. If Longao does not show up in 3 days, Longhung will die. Attack. Before Long Bai and Long Jin could react, the 3 half-step saints behind them had already scurried away. This wasn't to say that the sacred grounds were afraid of the Long family, but rather that they were extremely wary of Longao. Who knew if Longao was actually here? What if he was? The four of them were clearly aware in their hearts that since Longao was able to kill Zhou Dian by himself, there was no need to consider his own strength. It was precisely because of this that the three half-saint realm elders had made a move at the same time for the sake of ensuring that nothing would go wrong. A short while later, Long Hong had been captured, and it was obvious that he had fainted. Long Bai and Long Jian were furious, but they didn't dare to say anything. No matter what, the other party was the strongest person in the sacred grounds, and they could destroy the Long family at any time. If four half-step saints wanted to destroy the Long family, it would be a matter of minutes. Long Jian, Long Bai, this is all because of your Long family. Your Long family caused the sacred grounds to lose a half-step Saint Realm Elder. However, seeing that your Long family has always been loyal to the sacred grounds, we can spare you from death, but you cannot escape punishment. Master Yang, please listen to my explanation. Long Jian and Long Bai jumped in fright when they heard Yang Chen's words. They weren't idiots, so of course they could hear the murderous intent in Yang Chen's words. It was true that whatever they were afraid of had happened. Originally, they thought that with Long Ao's support, the Long family would be like a carp leaping over the dragon's gate. Now that the situation had changed, with just the Long Ao was a disaster. What should they do? Yang Chen didn't listen to their explanations at all. He was already filled with anger. They had lost a half-step Saint Realm Elder for no reason. What the hell? What did the sacred grounds do to deserve this? Even the sacred grounds couldn't afford to lose a half-step Saint Realm cultivator. If it was any other island, it wouldn't be a big deal. However, his own half-step Saint Realm cultivator had died right under his nose. This was simply unbearable. Prostitutes could endure this, but customers couldn't. Just a small punishment. The three half-step saints didn't give the two of them any chance to speak. They quickly attacked, severely injuring Long Jian, Long Bai, and everyone else in the Long family. However, the sacred grounds was still polite and didn't destroy the Long family. In fact, there were reasons why the sacred grounds didn't destroy the Long family this time. First, Long Ao wasn't a member of the Long family. They were well aware of the grudge between Long Ao and the sacred grounds. Apart from Long Hong, no one else in the Long family had participated. Second, the Long family had always been one of the three great families in Cloud City. Now that the Wang family had been destroyed, if the Long family was destroyed as well, wouldn't the Yi family become the only great family? Of course, the sacred grounds wouldn't allow such a thing to happen. It was precisely because of this that Yang Chen decided to punish them lightly. He wanted to show everyone on Cloud Island that the sacred grounds were the true rulers of Cloud Island. Anyone who dared to defy the sacred grounds would die. Seeing the four half-step saints take Long Hung away quickly, Long Jian and Long Bai's pale faces turned even uglier. As one of the three great families in Cloud City, they couldn't even protect their own people. If the sacred grounds hadn't shown mercy, the Long family would have disappeared from this world long ago. Uncle, what should we do now? Seeing his son being taken away, Long Bai was very worried. However, Long Hong was the only hope of the Long family. He was also the only person who had the chance to become an illusionary divine stage cultivator. If the sacred grounds really killed his son, it would be like a bolt from the blue for the Long family. However, Long Bai also knew that the Long family's strength alone was no match for the sacred grounds. Everything seemed a little too surreal. The Long family, which had the upper hand just a moment ago, had fallen to the bottom in just a few minutes. We can only wait for Master Long to return. I hope he returns. Otherwise, we'll be in trouble. Long Bai and Long Jian didn't say anything. The two of them forced their shaky bodies to slowly turn around and enter the Long family. The news of the sacred grounds teaching the Long family a lesson had already spread throughout Cloud City. No one was surprised at all, as if they had already guessed it. As for the sacred grounds taking Long Hung away, many people couldn't understand why Long Ao, Long Heng's master, didn't appear. Could it be that Long Ao was afraid? That couldn't be right. Long Ao's domineering attitude didn't seem like he was afraid. Furthermore, if he was afraid of the sacred grounds, he wouldn't have provoked them in the first place. Author's note: Little Nine was too agitated just now. Sorry, many people are right. Little Nine only needs to have a clear conscience. Today, I'll try my best to keep the minimum of 10 chapters. Let's go all out. Everyone, wait patiently. This is the third chapter. Chapter 583. Long Hong had been captured, and the entire Long family had been severely injured, but Long Ao hadn't done anything. They had originally thought that Long Ao would take action, but the result was the exact opposite. Was Long Ao afraid? Although no one was willing to believe it, the truth was right in front of their eyes. Everyone had received the news that Long Ao had not only not taken action, he had even left Cloud Island and gone somewhere unknown. It was precisely because of this that everyone began to condemn Long Ao. However, at the same time, they could understand Long Ao's decision. Again, the sacred ground was too powerful. Just this time, they had sent out 4 half-step saints to teach the Long family a lesson. The sacred ground's intention for capturing Long Ao was very clear. They wanted to force him to go to the sacred ground. Would Long Ao dare to go to the sacred ground? If Long Ao dared to go to the sacred ground, he wouldn't have just sat back and watched. Therefore, everyone was 100% sure that Long Ao didn't dare to go to the sacred ground. He had even left Cloud City, and no one knew where he had gone. In everyone's hearts, Long Ao had killed the Long family this time. Long Ao had provoked the sacred ground and left without a word. No matter how powerful the sacred ground was, it was as difficult as ascending to the heavens to find any trace of Long Ao in the vast ocean. Long Hong was dead for sure. Although Long Hong was called trash, he was still the #1 genius of Cloud City. It was more or less a pity that he was killed by the sacred ground. Cloud Island, Cloud City, Long family. Long Ao had just returned to Cloud City. When he stepped into the main hall and saw that Long Jin and Long Bai were severely injured, his heart skipped a beat. Did something happen? Senior Long, family head Long, what happened? Both Long Jin and Long Bai's expressions changed when they saw Long Ao suddenly appear. Neither of them had expected that Long Ao would suddenly return. Master Long, it's me. Long Jin and Long Bai sighed deeply. It seemed like they wanted to say something, but in the end, they didn't say anything. Seeing that the two of them wanted to say something, Long Ao's balls hurt to the extreme. His voice had already turned cold as he asked, "What happened? Where is Long Hong?" Under normal circumstances, the first person to welcome him back would be Long Hong. But what happened in the end? Master Dragon, if this is the case, since things had already come to this point, Long Bai did not hide anything from Yun Che. He told Yun Che everything that had happened just now. After hearing this, Long Ao was not angry at all. He asked calmly, "Where is the Holy Land?" Master Dragon, are you going to the Holy Land? You just have to answer, where is the Holy Land? Long Bai jumped in fright. Even though Long Ao was very calm, Long Bai could clearly sense the invisible killing intent radiating from his body. Not daring to hesitate in the slightest, he immediately revealed the exact location of the Holy Land. Long Hong is my disciple. No one is allowed to touch him. I will avenge the Long family. From now on, the Long family is the overlord of Cloud Island. Long Jin and Long Bai stared at each other as they watched Long Ao's departing figure. Uncle, Long Ao just said that from now on, our Long family is the overlord of Cloud City. Enough, let's see if Long Ao can come back alive first. Long Jin did not believe Long Ao's words at all. What a joke. If Long Ao could destroy the entire Holy Land with his own strength, he would not have fallen into such a predicament. After all, the Holy Land had 4 half-sages and even a saint. A saint was a super existence that was above a half-sage. It could be said that a half-sage martial practitioner was not even trash in front of a saint. News of Long Ao's return to Cloud City instantly spread throughout Cloud City. Everyone who heard the news turned pale with fright. They did not know what Long Ao wanted to do. He clearly knew that the Holy Land was looking for him, but Long Ao still returned to Cloud City. Wasn't this suicide? Was Long Ao really so arrogant that he did not fear the Holy Land? Not only did Long Ao return to Cloud City, but according to reliable sources, he had already attacked the Holy Land. This news shook the entire Cloud City because no one thought that Long Ao would really attack the Holy Land. This was simply a joke. No one believed it, and they all went to the Long family to get the exact news. Many martial practitioners also rushed to the Holy Land to see how Longao would attack the Holy Land. The Holy Land was the #1 overlord of Cloud Island. The entire Holy Land had 5 half-sages and 1 saint. However, Zhou Jian had already been killed by Longao. Now, the Holy Land only had 4 half-sages and 1 saint left. Even so, the Holy Land was still the most powerful existence on Cloud Island. Not to mention one person, even if all the families in Cloud City worked together, they would not be a match for the Holy Land. One could imagine how powerful the Holy Land was. 4 half-sages and 1 saint were enough to destroy everyone in Cloud City. In the Holy Land, there were 3 continuous mountains surrounded by the sea on 3 sides. They faced Cloud City from afar. The Holy Land was surrounded by white clouds all year round, as if it was floating above the clouds. Longao stood in front of the Holy Land and looked coldly at the 3 mountains in front of him, forcefully suppressing the anger in his heart. When he left Cloud City this time, Longao thought that the Holy Land would not attack the Long family. No matter what, the grudge between him and the Holy Land was only personal. However, the Holy Land was shameless enough to capture Longhong and attack the Long family. All of this was because Longao had already refined 10 level 1 sacred beast corpse slaves. Unless a saint came, he would definitely destroy the Holy Land today. From today onwards, the overlord of Cloud City was no longer the Holy Land, but the Long family. This was his compensation to the Long family. Long Fu also knew that Longao was anxious, so he worked overtime and finally succeeded in refining 10 sacred beast corpse slaves. The blue-eyed fire lion and the other 10 sacred beast corpse slaves all stood behind Longao obediently. At this time, countless people were secretly looking at them. Longao had already sensed this, but he did not say anything. He wanted to make an example out of them. Otherwise, even if he could destroy the Holy Land, the Long family would not be able to control Cloud Island. Longao brought 10 sacred beasts? Looking at Longao and the 10 sacred beasts behind Longao, everyone was shocked. They looked at the youth in the distance in a daze. Was he still human? In everyone's heart, Longao was no longer human. After all, he was so young and could control 10 sacred beasts. What kind of concept was that? In the battle between the Holy Land and Longao, it was hard to say who would win and who would lose. If it was before, everyone would definitely think that Longao would lose. But at this moment, seeing Longao suddenly summon 10 sacred beasts, everyone's thoughts immediately changed. Everyone was looking forward to the battle between Longao and the Holy Land. They wanted to see if anyone could really shake the position of the overlord of Cloud City for more than 100 years. Would Longao win or the Holy Land lose? Chapter 584. Longao, you're really arrogant. You really dare to come. There was no need for further nonsense. The aura of the 10 sacred beasts was enough to destroy everything. The 4 sage-to-be who had just appeared were shocked when they saw the 10 sacred beasts behind Longao. They had no idea what was going on. Yang Chun, let's end the grudge between the sacred land and me today. Before Yang Chun could speak, Longao continued, if I win, the sacred land won't leave anyone alive. If I lose, I'll kill myself here. Hearing this, the 4 sage-to-be's faces turned solemn. If it was just Longao alone, they wouldn't be worried at all. But the situation was different now. Longao wasn't alone. He had 10 sacred beasts behind him. Once the battle started, they would lose without a doubt. 4 against 10. Yang Chun and the others had the urge to curse because they couldn't figure out where Longao found 10 sacred beasts. If they had known, they wouldn't have bothered Longao even if they had swallowed their anger. But things had already come to this point. Yang Chun knew that the sacred land couldn't back down no matter what. Once they were afraid, the sacred land would be completely passive. Are you afraid? Looking at the 4's ugly faces, Longao suddenly laughed and said contemptuously, I thought the sacred land was powerful. It turns out that it's just us. Hand over Longhong, and I can let the sacred land go. But the 4 of you must die. From today onwards, the sacred land will leave the Cloud Island and never return. One had to admit that Longao had gone too far. No matter what, the sacred land had been the overlord of the Cloud Island for so many years. But now, not only did Longao want to take away the sacred land's position, he even wanted to drive the sacred land out of the Cloud Island. Although there were countless islands in the outer sea, and they could start anew on any one of them. But the problem now was that if the 4 sage to-bes were to fall, the overall strength of the sacred land would plummet. By then, no matter where they went, they would either be devoured or destroyed. Longao, do you really think you can destroy the sacred land? We can give it a try. The more confident Longao appeared, the more uncertain Yang Chun and the others felt. However, the 4 of them knew very well that Longao possessed the qualifications to be so confident. 10 divine beasts were no joke. Longao, you are too presumptuous. At this moment, a dignified voice suddenly rang out from the sacred land. Looking at the old man who had descended from the sky, the 4 of them immediately bowed respectfully. Disciples greet Grand Elder. The Grand Elder, the Holy Land's Grand Elder. Looking at the sudden appearance of the first Elder of the Holy Land, all the spectators who were hiding in the dark were in an uproar. This was because the first Elder of the Holy Land, Yang Feng, was a legendary figure and was already a saint expert. When the Holy Land was in danger, it was this person who had turned the tide. Saints. Longao was not surprised at all as he stared at the old man in front of him, who was the so-called saint. He had already guessed that there must be a saint in the sacred land. Otherwise, the sacred land would not have been able to dominate Cloud Island for so many years. Who are you? I am the first elder of the Holy Land, Yang Feng. Longao, you killed my elder first. You can't blame the Holy Land for this. What do you say? I don't need to say more about the shamelessness of the Holy Land. You are just a bully. Longao, you are too presumptuous. Who do you think you are? How dare you be so arrogant in front of the first elder? Hearing that Longao dared to be disrespectful to the first elder, Yang Chun and the others were immediately enraged. If it were not for the 10 divine beasts behind Longao, they believed that Yang Chun would not have shown any mercy. Waving his hand, Yang Feng smiled as if he did not put Longao and the 10 divine beasts in his eyes at all. However, Yang Feng had the right to be arrogant. As a powerful saint expert, in his eyes, a half-saint expert was just an ant-like existence. The two were not on the same level at all. It was precisely because of this that Yang Feng was not worried at all. On the contrary, he was pleasantly surprised. If all 10 divine beasts were accepted into the Holy Land, it would undoubtedly be a great help to the Holy Land. Losing a half-saint elder in exchange for 10 saint beasts, no matter how he looked at it, he would not lose out. How could Longao not know what Yang Feng was thinking? But since things had come to this point, no matter what, he had to continue. He knew that he was no match for a saint expert. Longao had already decided that if he had no other choice, he would use the 9 needles to forcibly raise his strength. Even if he was a peak half-saint, he believed that he had the strength to contend against a saint expert. Longao, I can give you a chance. Yang Chun and the others stood respectfully to the side. Even if Yang Chun was the master, he did not dare to interrupt. This was Yang Feng's status in the Holy Land. Yang Feng, the #1 expert of the Holy Land, was also the spiritual pillar of the Holy Land. I'm all ears. I won't intervene in the battle between the 4 of you. If you win, take Longhung away. If you lose, leave behind the 10 divine beasts. From then on, the enmity between you and the Holy Land will be written off. How about it? Before Longao could speak, Yang Feng continued, I won't intervene, and neither can your 10 divine beasts. Shameless. 1 against 4. Yang Feng's plan was really good. Hearing Yang Feng's words, countless people around deeply despised this first elder of the Holy Land. They originally had some respect for him, but now, Yang Feng had instantly ruined his reputation. Yang Feng, do you think you're shameless? Yang Feng did not speak. He just smiled as if he did not feel that there was anything wrong with what he had done. After all, this was the Holy Land, their territory. Moreover, he was a saint expert. In the eyes of everyone, this was giving Longao a chance. Otherwise, if Yang Feng personally took action, would Long Ao be able to contend against him? Actually, Long Ao was very clear about Yang Feng's intentions. He only wanted his 10 sacred beast corpse slaves. Otherwise, Yang Feng wouldn't have given him this opportunity. Yang Feng, if I win, not only will I take Long Hung away, but the 4 of them will also have to leave their lives behind. Moreover, the Holy Land will have to leave Cloud Island forever, and will not be able to take half a step onto Cloud Island for the rest of their lives. Long Ao, don't F*** King cross the line. The first elder has already given you a chance. Who do you think you are? Trash. You really don't know the immensity of heaven and earth. Long Ao's arrogance caused everyone to scold him. However, Yang Feng waved his hand curiously and asked, Long Ao, I'm really curious. Are you really that confident? Not to mention Yang Feng, there was no one who was willing to believe that Long Ao could win against 4 sage to be experts. Chapter 585. What if you lose? Yang Feng didn't put Long Ao in his eyes at all. In the eyes of a saint, a half-step saint was trash. If I lose, not only will I give you the 10 saint beasts, but I will also kill myself. How about that? Okay, I agree. Without even thinking, Yang Feng directly agreed. Because in Yang Feng's opinion, it was impossible for Long Ao to be a match for 4 people. Was it even possible for him to defeat Yang Qian and the other 3? Regardless of whether others believed it or not, he didn't believe it. Not to mention Yang Feng, even the others chose not to believe it. Yang Feng and Long Ao had already decided, so Yang Feng and the 10 saint beasts retreated. At this time, Yang Feng asked someone to bring Long Hung over. Master. Long Ao waved his hand and said guiltily, Master has implicated you. Master, I'm not willing to do this. Long Hung was very moved as he looked at his master. Ever since he had been captured, only his master had come alone. But this time, his master had come alone to face the entire sacred land. If he wasn't careful, he would be killed by the sacred land. But even so, his master had still come without hesitation. But what about his family? What about his father? Where were they? A master for a day was a father for life. Long Hung didn't continue speaking because there was nothing he could say. But at this time, footsteps came from the distance. Then, hundreds of people rushed over, led by the Long family's patriarch, Long Bai and Long Jian. Long Hung was pleasantly surprised when he saw the crowd. No matter what happened to him today, he felt that it was worth it. Hunger, no matter what, we choose to live and die with you. After saying that, Long Jian and the others retreated to the side. Yang Feng and the other 4 snorted coldly. They were just a bunch of trash. They didn't care about them at all. As long as the sacred land wanted to, they could destroy the Long family in a matter of minutes. Yang Chen and the other 3 walked out, their faces full of contempt and ridicule. If Long Ao could really fight the 4 of them alone, they wouldn't have the face to continue living in this world. You overestimate yourself. Today, I'll let you know the consequences of being arrogant. Nonsense. Long Ao took a big stride forward and slashed out with the blood-sucking blade in his hand. At the same time, the divine dragon arm also smashed out. In the blink of an eye, the 5 of them were already engaged in a fierce battle. As the saying goes, once an expert makes a move, one will know whether or not he is an expert. The 4 half-step sages, who hadn't put Long Ao in their eyes, suddenly became serious. They didn't dare to be careless. The 4 half-step sages attacked Long Ao from the 4 directions of north, south, east, and west. Watching the battle between the 2 sides, Yang Feng gradually became solemn. He had never imagined that Long Ao's strength would be so powerful. In a situation where he was fighting 1 against 4, he was still able to gain the upper hand. End the battle quickly. Long Ao didn't want to waste time with the 4 of them because he knew very well that even if he could kill the 4 of them, there was still Yang Feng behind him. After causing such a ruckus in the Holy Land, would Yang Feng let him leave easily? The blood-sucking wild blade and the extermination seal were continuously used. One move after another, one move after another, one move after another, not giving the 4 of them the slightest chance to take a breather. At this time, Long Ao sneered. Suddenly, He used the space teleportation. Disappeared? Looking at Longao, who was still there just a moment ago, suddenly disappeared for no reason. It was as if they had seen a ghost in the daytime. The four of them stared blankly at the empty space in front of them. Before the four of them could react, Yang Feng's words had already been heard. Be careful behind you. Be careful behind you? What did this mean? The four of them were startled. At this time, Longao's figure suddenly appeared behind the four of them. The blood-sucking blade in his hand had already ruthlessly chopped down. Without a doubt, in this situation, how could the four of them resist Longao's blade? According to Longao's strength, it was simply impossible to kill four half-step saints with one blade at the same time. Therefore, Longao chose to go all out to kill one of them. Gotcha! There was a crisp sound. Kongli, who was one of the four half-sages, was killed by Longao's saber. He was cleaved in half. The remaining three half-sages were dumbfounded. Not to mention the three half-step saints, even the others, including Yang Feng, were all dumbfounded. Longao had almost killed Kongli in an instant. Moreover, it was under the joint attack of four half-step saints. What kind of concept was this? The three half-step saints were stunned. Longao didn't let go of this opportunity. After killing Kongli, he immediately chopped towards the three half-step saints. The blood-sucking blade brought a terrifying blade light, like a meteor streaking across the sky. A cold shiver ran down his spine. The three half-step saints didn't dare to have the slightest hesitation. With Kongli as an example, the three of them were restricted by Longao. If it was a day ago, Longao definitely wouldn't have casually used the spatial teleportation. After all, it consumed too much of his soul power. However, the situation now was completely different. The continuous strengthening of his soul power allowed Longao to use spatial teleportation more than 3 times in a row. Moreover, the distance of the spatial teleportation had increased from 1 meter to 1.5 meters. Therefore, Longao had used spatial teleportation from the beginning in order to end the battle quickly. Longao continued to use spatial teleportation. However, this time, the three half-step saints were already mentally prepared. When they saw that Longao had suddenly disappeared, the three of them immediately stood back to prevent Longao from succeeding in his sneak attack. Hee, you've become smarter. Not bad, not bad. As soon as his voice fell, a terrifying tornado appeared in an instant. Longao had just used spatial teleportation and immediately used his self-created martial skill, Heaven and Earth Sorrow. A powerful, imposing aura spurred the tornado and instantly engulfed the three half-step saints. In the eyes of outsiders, Longao, Yang Chen, and the other two had all disappeared. They were all enveloped in the tornado. As for what had happened inside, no one knew what was going on inside the tornado. Uncle, do you think Master Long can defeat Yang Chen and the other two? The expression on Longao's face was very complicated. He said, I can't see through Longao. If it was before, I would have told you 100% that I don't believe that Longao can defeat Yang Chen and the other three by himself. What about now? Now? With a wry smile, Longao said, Longao can certainly kill Yang Chen and the other two, but even so, what can he do? There's still Yang Feng behind him. You should know that Yang Feng is the true #1 expert of the Holy Land. Longao will definitely die here today. Long Bai was very surprised. At this moment, he felt that there was something wrong with his uncle. As for what was wrong, he couldn't tell. The words were already at the tip of his tongue, but Long Bai abruptly swallowed them back down. He looked deeply at his uncle and sighed in his heart. Chapter 586. Inside the tornado. Longao made use of the momentum of heaven and earth to attack the three of them fiercely, not giving them any chance to breathe. Momentum of heaven and earth. Nirvana. Before Yang Chen could finish his words, Longao's blade light had already slashed towards them. The three of them were already scared silly. They didn't dare to fight force with force. They only wanted to leave this place as soon as possible. Wanna leave? Longao made use of the momentum of heaven and earth. The combination of bloodthirsty blade and sorrow of heaven and earth wasn't as simple as 1 + 1. Moreover, Longao was attacking with his full strength. Crack. Songrun and Xiexie were finished off by Longao. At this moment, only Yang Chun was left among the 4 half-saint experts. 3 of the 4 half-saint experts were already dead. The remaining Yang Chun didn't dare to continue fighting. After a series of attacks, he turned around and prepared to leave. But at this moment, Longao had already smashed out the Dragon God's arm boom. Before Yang Chun could react, his entire body had already been smashed away. Seeing a figure being smashed out in an instant, everyone had already guessed what had happened. Seeing Yang Chun on the verge of collapse and standing there with a pale face, everyone was dumbfounded. The tornado disappeared. Longao's body instantly shot out and continued to attack Yang Chun. Looking at the 3 corpses on the ground, everyone was a little dumbfounded. One should know that the 3 of them were half-saint experts of the sacred ground. But in just a few minutes, all of them had died here. Including Zhou Dian, who was killed earlier, the only 4 half-saint elders of the sacred ground had been killed by Longao. Not a single one was left alive. Everyone was still in a daze. After all, the sacred ground was the overlord of Cloud Island. For countless years, no one had dared to do this. If they hadn't seen it with their own eyes, who would have believed it? Longao, this name was destined to be recorded in the annals of history, resounding throughout the countless islands in the outer sea. Longao took advantage of the victory to pursue. Since he had already killed 3 half-saint experts, he wouldn't lose to Yang Chun. Longao wasn't a fool. Although he had made an agreement with Yang Feng that as long as he could defeat the 4 half-saint experts, not only could he take Long Hung away, the sacred ground would also withdraw from Cloud Island. But would Yang Feng keep his promise? Longao didn't know how Yang Feng was doing, but he couldn't gamble. If Yang Feng went against him and didn't keep his promise, then Yang Chun would always be a hidden danger. Letting the tiger return to the mountain will leave behind future troubles. If you don't remove the roots when you cut the weeds, they will grow again when the spring breeze blows. Looking at the 3 corpses on the ground, Yang Feng was furious to the extreme, but due to the agreement he had just made with Longao, he could not easily intervene. In any case, there were countless people watching, and the Holy Land could not lose face. Until now, Yang Feng still hadn't come to his senses. He couldn't figure out how Longao, who was only a beginner half-saint, could kill 3 half-saints in a 1 versus 4 situation. It seemed that only a saint could achieve such strength. Could Longao be a saint? Uncle, what's wrong? Longbai was pleasantly surprised when he saw that Longao had successfully killed 3 half-saints. When he turned around to look at his uncle, Longbai jumped in fright because Longjin's expression was exactly the same as Yang Feng's. Both of them were extremely gloomy. Uncle, shut up and watch carefully. Longbai jumped in fright. He didn't know what was wrong with his uncle, but he didn't dare to continue asking. After successfully killing the 3 half-saints, Longao wielded Bloodsucker Broadsword and shot toward Yang Chun. He didn't continue releasing his aura of heaven and earth because he might have to fight another battle later, or even with Yang Feng. If that happened, then his aura of heaven and earth might play an unexpected role. In the blink of an eye, Longao and Yang Chun continued to fight. They went back and forth, and in an instant, they exchanged 3 blows, but there was no clear winner. Longao didn't want to listen at all because he had already guessed what Yang Chun wanted to say. How could he choose to give up on such a rare opportunity so easily? It was still the same old saying, cut the weeds and eliminate the roots to get rid of future troubles. When he thought of Longao's terrifying strength, Yang Chun didn't want to continue fighting. At this moment, Yang Chun was extremely regretful. If he knew that Longao was so strong, he wouldn't have provoked this person. Now, they had lost 4 half-saints. Even if they could kill Longao in the end, the Holy Land would suffer a great loss. However, Longao didn't give him the slightest chance to catch his breath. Under his continuous attacks, Yang Chun found it increasingly difficult to withstand. There were a few times when Yang Chun even wanted to call for Yang Feng's help, but in the end, he resisted. The Holy Land had already lost face in this battle. If he asked for help again, how could the Holy Land establish itself on Cloud Island in the future? Because of this, Yang Chun forced himself to endure and used all his strength. Yang Chen tried to turn the situation around, but no matter what he did, he couldn't do it. The second time, he used sorrow of heaven and earth. Longao instantly grabbed Yang Chen. He was frightened. Yang Chen didn't want to. He directly turned around and fled. As the master of the Holy Land and a half-saint martial artist, Yang Chen had lost face. However, compared to his life, it was insignificant. He laughed loudly. The master of the Holy Land is just like a wild dog. Longao, that's enough. He ignored Yang Feng. After all, he and Yang Feng had just made an agreement. As long as Yang Feng didn't find it embarrassing, he wouldn't easily take action unless it was a last resort. Otherwise, Yang Feng would have already taken action when he killed the 3 half-saints. Seeing Longao ignoring him, Yang Feng's face became even colder. As Longao had guessed, Yang Feng wouldn't easily take action unless it was a last resort in order to take care of his own face. Taking advantage of this opportunity, Longao chased after Yang Chen, who had already escaped. He directly took back his wild devouring blade and fiercely smashed it. Both of his arms were as fast as lightning, especially the divine dragon arm. Its speed was twice as fast. Furthermore, Longao used spatial teleportation and instantly arrived beside Yang Chen. The corner of Longao's mouth curled into a sneer. Longao suddenly moved. Before Yang Chen could even react, Longao's fist had already fiercely landed on Yang Chen's body. Fist after fist, fist after fist, fist after fist, every fist landed on Yang Chen's flesh. Moreover, Longao used 120% of his strength. Longao, that's enough. Yang Feng's angry roar was heard, but Longao still ignored it and continued to smash. In just a few seconds, Yang Chen had already become an extra-large pig head. However, Yang Chen had already been smashed no less than 100 times and was already on the verge of death. It was believed that Yang Chen would be smashed to death in less than 10 punches. Damn you! Yang Feng finally couldn't bear it anymore. The Holy Land had already lost 4 half-saint elders. If even Yang Chen died, the Holy Land would really be finished. Chapter 587. As soon as Yang Feng made his move, a burst of ridicule came from all around. In any case, there was an agreement between Longao and Yang Feng. But now, Yang Feng obviously did not abide by the agreement and interfered in this matter. Again, Yang Feng would not easily make a move unless it was a last resort. At this moment, Yang Feng was really anxious. First, Zhou Qiong was killed, and then the 3 half-saint elders fell. If Yang Chen was killed by Longao, the sacred ground would really commit suicide. He dared not to be careless, but Longao certainly would not leave Yang Chen alive for the sacred ground. Shameless sacred ground, shameless Yang Feng. After saying that, Longao's dragon god's arm had already smashed Yang Chen's temple, killing him instantly. No one knew if Longao did it on purpose, but he failed to kill Yang Chen after hundreds of punches. But Yang Feng intervened and Longao directly killed Yang Chen with 1 punch. Provocation. Longao was obviously provoking the sacred ground. If it was in the past, everyone would definitely think that Longao was courting death. But now, everyone would give him a thumbs up and praise him because he had the capital to do so. Did you? After killing Yang Chen, Longao quickly retreated, not giving Yang Feng the slightest chance. Yang Feng came in front of Yang Chen and looked at the 4 corpses on the ground. His face was gloomy, and he did not say a word. His whole body emitted waves of cold aura, like a 10,000-year-old ancient corpse. In front of the sacred ground, it was quiet, and no one spoke. In just a few minutes, Longao had killed 4 half-saint experts. What kind of concept was that? At this moment, everyone had a new understanding of Longao's strength. Although Longao was only a beginner half-saint, his true strength was comparable to a peak half-saint. At least, no one below the saint realm was a match for Longao. Longao, you're courting death. Ha ha ha, Yang Feng, we made a deal just now. I will fight 4 people. If I win, not only will they die, but the Holy Land will also have to leave the Cloud Island. Don't tell me you don't want to accept it? Longao wasn't the least bit surprised by Yang Feng's actions. After all, he had killed 4 semi-sage experts. He had almost wiped out all the semi-sage experts of the Holy Land. It would be strange if Yang Feng would stop here. Humph, I made a deal with you, but I didn't say that if you win against the 4 of them, you can leave the Holy Land. I will keep my promise. Later, the Holy Land will leave the Cloud Island. We will never set foot on the Cloud Island again. But before we leave, you must die. Hearing Yang Feng's words, everyone was shocked. Was the sacred ground really going to leave the Cloud Island? No one seemed to be able to react. No matter what, the Holy Land had dominated the Cloud Island for so many years. No one had ever thought that there would be a day when the Holy Land would withdraw from the Cloud Island. Is this true? Until now, no one dared to believe it. Although Yang Feng had already announced that the Holy Land would withdraw from the Cloud Island, the meaning of his words was clear. Even if the Holy Land left, they would still kill Longao. It had to be said that Yang Feng was indeed shameless. He had clearly lost, but he still insisted on twisting words. Longao smiled contemptuously. He was very indifferent and said without the slightest worry, I have long known that the Holy Land is shameless, but I never thought that you would be this shameless. But it doesn't matter. Since you want to play, I will play with you. Arrogant, overbearing. Longao's courage and charm deeply impressed everyone, including Yang Feng. At this moment, Yang Feng still couldn't react. Why did the Holy Land provoke this maleficent star? It brought a fatal disaster to the Holy Land for no reason. Not only did they lose 4 semi-sage elders, but they also made it impossible for the Holy Land to dominate the Cloud Island. They had to withdraw from the Cloud Island. Although there were countless islands in the outer sea, it was harder than reaching the sky to occupy a place. The reason why the Holy Land could dominate the Cloud Island was the efforts of several generations. It didn't come out of nowhere. Inside the Dragon Seal space, Long Fu placed the souls of the 3 semi-sage martial artists into the blood pool and began to refine the so-called soul power. What Long Ao needed the most now was to fuse the souls and continuously strengthen his soul power. But according to his master, the remaining soul of Yang Chun must be refined into a soul slave as soon as possible. Without the corpse, he could only refine it into a soul slave. If it was the Dragon Seal space in the past, it would have been impossible. But now, the situation was completely different. When the primordial divine dragon fell, its power was given to Long Ao and Long Chong. All of its blood was poured into the blood pool. In this way, the blood pool instantly recovered a little. So if Long Fu went all out to refine it, 3 minutes would be enough. Yang Feng suddenly turned his head and coldly stared at the youth in front of him. Long Ao, you shouldn't have provoked the Holy Land. You have to understand one thing. It was the Holy Land that provoked me first. The first time, Zhou Jian cut off my disciple's left arm. The second time, Yang Chun took my disciple. Do you mean that the Holy Land can bully people at will, and we have to obediently endure it? Yang Feng was speechless by Long Ao's question. No matter what, the Holy Land was in the wrong first. Because it was the Holy Land that provoked him first. But now that things had come to this point, how could Yang Feng admit his mistake? Wouldn't that be slapping his own face? Yang Feng smiled and said, Long Ao, I have to admit that you can indeed be called number 1 under the Saint Realm. You were able to defeat Yang Chun and the other 3 by yourself. If you can break through to the Saint Realm, even if you're only a primary saint, I won't be your opponent. It was the truth. Hearing Yang Feng's words, no one had the slightest doubt. Because Long Ao had just witnessed his strength. He was able to defeat 4 people by himself and kill them. Just this strength alone was enough to show disdain for everyone under the Saint Realm. It was not an exaggeration to call him number 1 under the Saint Realm. But everyone also knew that no matter how strong Long Ao was, he was still a semi-saint and could not compete with a saint. This was the biggest gap between a saint and a semi-saint. Yang Feng knew this. Long Ao also knew this. Everyone knew this. Because of this, without exception, everyone thought that Long Ao was doomed this time. But since he could make a scene in the Holy Land and kill 4 semi-saint warriors, his name would still go down in history. Long Ao, if you can take 10 of my moves, I'll let you go. Only 10 moves. It sounded simple, but it was not easy to withstand 10 moves from a saint. It was especially difficult for a semi-saint warrior to withstand 10 moves from a saint. However, Longao still looked indifferent. At this time, Yang Feng suddenly attacked. However, he left quickly and came back even faster. His eyes were opened wider than a cow's. He had an expression of disbelief. Not only Yang Feng, even the others had the same expression as if they had seen a ghost. They didn't know what was going on. Chapter 588. A figure suddenly appeared in front of Longao. It was Yang Chen. The reason why everyone was shocked and looked like they'd seen a ghost was because of Yang Chen in front of Longao. One should know that Yang Chen was already dead. Thus, why would he suddenly appear here? What on earth had happened? Yang Feng was the most shocked because Yang Chen's corpse was still lying on the ground beside him, but another Yang Chen had appeared in front of him. He really wanted to know how this Yang Chen had appeared. Soul. Yang Feng instantly guessed the real reason. Although he didn't know how Longao had done it, he had a feeling that the Yang Chen in front of him was already under Longao's control. How did Longao do it? Everyone kept asking themselves the same question as they watched everything unfold before them. Uncle, Longao is really amazing. He can actually duplicate Yang Chen's soul. Although I don't know how he did it, I'm sure of one thing. Longao has already refined Yang Chen's soul. Yang Chen's soul is now under Longao's control. Long Bai was even more curious when he heard his uncle's tone. He didn't know what was wrong with his uncle. Was his uncle dissatisfied with Longao? That shouldn't be the case. His uncle had always had a good impression of Longao. What was wrong with him now? It seemed like he didn't like Longao at all. Long Jin's attitude completely confused Long Bai. Longao, how did you do it? How I did it is none of your business. Longao was very arrogant. The more arrogant he was, the more uncertain Yang Feng felt. This was especially true when it came to Yang Chen's soul. He really couldn't figure out how Longao had done it. Yang Feng, cut the crap. If you want to fight, then fight. If you don't, then scram. Get out of Cloud Island and we'll write this matter off. Now that Longao clearly had the upper hand, the situation had changed too quickly. No one could react in time. Originally, Yang Feng was a saint and had suppressed Longao. But now, Longao, a half-step saint, was suppressing Yang Feng. If they hadn't seen it with their own eyes, they wouldn't have believed it. Yang Feng seemed to be in a daze. He didn't expect Longao to be so arrogant. If it was before, Yang Feng would have killed Longao without any hesitation. But now, Longao's arrogance had deeply shaken Yang Feng, and he didn't dare to attack. Yang Feng, you don't dare? As Yang Feng retreated, Longao pressed on. At this time, it was unknown who sent Yang Feng a spiritual sense message. Yang Feng, who had been frightened, suddenly seemed to have changed into a different person. He stared at Longao and sneered. I'd like to see how you contend against me. Longao was also a little surprised. Were there other experts in the sacred land? Just now, he could clearly sense that Yang Feng's aura had been completely disrupted by him, and his state of mind was unstable. Even if he was in the saint realm, as long as he seized this opportunity and used his trump card, he could kill Yang Feng. But now, Longao didn't believe that Yang Feng could recover in an instant and stabilize his state of mind by himself. There must be someone helping him, and the other party must be an expert. Longao also became solemn in an instant, because he was sure that there must be other experts in the sacred land, and this expert strength was not lower than Yang Feng's. If this was the case, then things would be troublesome. Longao. Without waiting for Yang Feng to finish his words, Longao had already slashed out with his blood-drinking wild saber. The shocking saber light engulfed the heavens and devoured the earth. The terrifying spatial crack was forcibly cut open. Seeing this situation, everyone was shocked. Cutting open the space with a single broadsword? Not to mention a little quasi-holy warrior. It seemed that even a divine Tao warrior couldn't do this. Where did this person come from? In everyone's eyes, Longao became more and more mysterious and powerful. However, Longao didn't give Yang Feng any chances, because he knew that the gap between them was too big, and it was difficult to make up for the gap in realm. Therefore, there was only one way, and that was to repeatedly congratulate him, hoping to find a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity to attack. Innate magical ability, Dragon Roar. A series of dragon roars resounding throughout the entire heaven and earth. Then, a black dragon figure appeared behind Longao. Dragon? Dragon? Looking at the huge dragon figure behind Longao, this time, everyone was completely frightened. Everyone guessed who Longao was. Was he a dragon warrior? A dragon warrior. Longao is actually a dragon warrior. Long Jin glared fiercely at Longao, and then at Longao, because he never imagined that Longao would actually be a dragon warrior. After all, the Long family's dragon warriors were too powerful, and there was no one who didn't know about them. Longao. Long Jin fiercely said this name, and his fists were tightly clenched. This made Long Bai even more curious, because at this moment, his uncle seemed to be too abnormal, especially when he saw Longao. A dragon roar resounded, and the dragon figure released a powerful aura that instantly enveloped the surrounding space. Suddenly, Yang Feng felt his body being locked down, and the flow of time around him began to reverse. In this way, his speed decreased by 3 seconds, and Longao's speed increased by 3 seconds. Yang Feng was scared silly, because he had never encountered such a situation before. His body was locked down, and time was forcibly reversed. Was this something that a half-saint warrior could do? Longao, dragon your sister. Of course, Longao wouldn't give Yang Feng any chance to retaliate. He fiercely slashed out with the bloodthirsty broadsword in his hand, and not only that, he also teleported. In the next second, Longao appeared beside Yang Feng. His innate ability, Dragon Roar, had already reversed Yang Feng's speed and increased Longao's speed. At this moment, Longao actually used spatial teleportation. Speed was superior, and Yang Feng was completely defeated. Longao was clearly bullying Yang Feng. A half-saint bullying a saint? Was such a thing really possible? Everyone stared blankly at the scene in front of them, because Longao had silently appeared beside Yang Feng. As long as Longao attacked, Yang Feng wouldn't be able to dodge, and the outcome of this battle would be decided. However, many people still didn't believe that Longao could do this. If Longao could really kill a saint, it would be too heaven-defying. At this moment, Longao's eyes were cold, and he gathered all his strength. As long as he slashed down, Yang Feng would definitely die. Yang Feng seemed to have expected this, and he was very unwilling to accept this. In fact, according to Longao's normal strength, it was impossible for him to do this. However, with the help of Dragon Roar and spatial teleportation, and Yang Feng's carelessness, Longao was able to do it. Just as Longao was about to slash out with his blade, suddenly, a person appeared behind Longao, a person that no one would have expected. P.S. Chapter 10 updated at 1 p.m. Chapter 589. Long Jian? Everyone was confused when they saw Long Jian suddenly appear behind Longao. They didn't know what Long Jian was trying to do. Under everyone's curious gazes, Long Jian suddenly made his move. A palm ruthlessly struck Longao's back, directly sending him flying. What was going on? Wasn't Longao Long Heng's master? Long Jian's sudden action stunned everyone. They didn't know what Long Jian was trying to do. After all, it was rumored that Longao had a good relationship with the Long family. Otherwise, Longao wouldn't have charged into the sacred ground alone and killed 4 half-step saints for Long Heng. Longao never thought that Long Jian would suddenly attack him. It was because he wasn't on guard against Long Jian that Longao didn't even react when he was hit by Long Jian. After flipping in the air, Longao came to a stop shakily. Even at this moment, Longao still had some lingering fear. If it wasn't for the desolate divine body, he believed that he would have been killed by Long Jian's palm. Long Jian. The voice was extremely cold. Longao instantly understood what was going on. He just realized that there was still an expert from the sacred ground who hadn't shown up and was secretly helping Yang Feng. Otherwise, he would have killed Yang Feng without a doubt. Although Yang Feng had broken through to the saint realm, his mental state was in chaos. As long as he used spatial teleportation and his innate ability, he had a chance to kill him. However, Longao had already guessed that Yang Feng had calmed his mental state in an instant. However, Longao never thought that the expert from the sacred ground would be Long Jin, the #1 expert of the Long family. Longao was very curious. Who was Long Jin? Forget Longao. Even Long Bai and Long Hung were shocked by Long Jin's actions. What was going on? Long Bai and Long Hung did not say anything because the two of them were so shocked that they could not speak. Even if they were beaten to death, they would never have imagined that the #1 expert of their family, their closest relative, would actually help the sacred grounds just now. Long Jin seemed to have become a different person. He exuded a cold aura. He was only a world emperor, but he instantly became a saint, and a pinnacle saint at that. He even surpassed Yang Feng. Longao, since you've already guessed it, why ask me? As expected. Long Jian, how should I address you? Dragon Sword can do it. So can Yang Jian. There's one thing I don't understand. Since you're a reincarnator, then the Long family is also your family. Why did you do this to the Long family? Ha ha ha, the Long family is like floating clouds in my eyes. If it wasn't for the fact that I had to hide from my enemies, I wouldn't have killed Long Jin and seized his soul to be reborn. So that's why. Longao knew very well that Long Jin was not the #1 expert of the Long family at this moment, but the #1 expert of the sacred grounds. He had merely seized his soul to be reborn. Unfortunately, no one in the Long family or even the entire Cloud City knew about this. Longao, it seems that you come from a Long family. I really didn't expect that such a powerful dragon martial artist would appear on our small cloud island. Yang Jin had already guessed that since Long Jin had awakened his innate ability, he was definitely a dragon martial artist. Because of this, Yang Jin was greedy and couldn't wait to obtain Long Jin's dragon. If he could devour the dragon martial artist's soul, he believed that his strength would increase rapidly. How could Long Ao not know about Yang Jin's thoughts? However, Long Ao was very surprised because he never imagined that two reincarnation experts would appear on a small cloud island. After all, Long Ao knew what a reincarnation expert represented. Countless islands in the outer sea. One had to admit that the outer sea was an unfathomable place. Long Ao's heart was also filled with killing intent, because he and the sacred land had already reached a situation where either you die or I die. If Yang Jinjue awakened his divine soul and became a divine Tao warrior, then things would become even more troublesome. Long Ao was certain that Yang Jin had awakened his spirit. It was just that it had not been fully awakened. Yang Jin was equivalent to a second Wang Hao. Whether it was Yang Jin or Wang Hao, no matter what happened, they had to be killed. Long Ao had always believed in one principle. If you cut the grass without removing the roots, there would be endless trouble in the future. Long Ao, you killed 4 half-sages of the sacred grounds. I will slowly let you know what it means to live a life worse than death. Turning around, Yang Jin looked at Long Bai and suddenly said, seeing that you still respect me, I can spare the Long family. You should leave first. I won't leave. Father, you leave first. No matter what, I will live and die with Master. Long Bai didn't know what to say when he saw the determination on his son's face. His son's actions were indeed worthy of respect, but his son was the family's only hope. Before Long Bai could say anything, Yang Jin suddenly laughed coldly and said, Long Hung, do you really want to die with your master? Sure, I can fulfill your wish. I will let the two of you die together later. Senior, Long Bai, I will give you one last chance to leave. Otherwise, I don't recommend slaughtering the entire Long family. Yang Jin's powerful aura intimidated everyone. As a saint expert and a reincarnation cultivator, Yang Jin had the right to do so. Long Bai sighed deeply, but decided to stay in the end. He said, I, Long Bai, have never done anything big in my life. This time, son, I will support you. No matter what happens, I will live and die with you. Long Bai's words caused the surrounding people to secretly cheer. Before they knew it, everyone had a good impression of Long Ao. After all, the sacred grounds were too sinister. You don't know the difference between life and death. I will make you regret this. Yang Jian didn't care about the Long family at all. If the sacred grounds wanted to destroy the Long family, they could do it in a matter of minutes. As long as he wanted to, he could do it at any time. However, Yang Jian didn't choose to deal with the Long family at this time. No matter what, the Long family was like a turtle in a jar that could be destroyed at any time. Right now, there was only one person he needed to deal with, and that was Longao, the powerful dragon martial practitioner in front of him. Yang Feng's state of mind was unstable, and he had almost been killed, but Yang Jian seemed very confident. Longao, if you and I were to fight, take a guess. How many moves can you take? You? If I remember correctly, Yang Chen said the same thing just now. It seems that Yang Feng also said the same thing. It seems that the people of the sacred grounds like to boast. I can understand their shamelessness, but as a person who has lived 2 lives, instead of being a good person, you choose to act like a dog. I really feel sorry for the sacred grounds. Without giving Yang Jian a chance to speak, Longao suddenly said, Yang Jian, I formally challenge you now. Do you dare to accept? Chapter 590. You want to challenge me? Yang Jian seemed a little surprised. He did not expect that Longao would take the initiative to challenge him. He was courting death. However, even though Yang Feng and Yang Jian were both saints, they couldn't be compared to each other. No matter what, Yang Jian was still a rebirth realm cultivator. Everyone around held their breath, looking forward to the battle between Longao and Yang Jian. Longao's rampage in the Holy Land was full of twists and turns, and he was surrounded by dangers. What shocked everyone the most was that the top expert of the Long family, Long Jian, was actually a reincarnation realm martial artist from the Holy Land. If it were not for Longao, no one would have known about this in their lifetime. You don't dare? Ha ha ha, I don't dare? Longao, since you want to die, I will fulfill your wish. I accept your challenge. I want to see how powerful a dragon warrior is. Longao and Yang Jian did not continue to talk nonsense, because both of them knew very well that this battle was a matter of life and death. Preemptive strike. In terms of realm, there was a difference of a whole level. Longao certainly would not sit still and wait for death. He wanted to change from passive to active. As soon as he made his move, his innate magical ability, Dragon Roar, was used. At the same time as the dragon's roar sounded, a huge dragon figure appeared behind him. A terrifying aura spread out and instantly enveloped the surrounding space. Even if Yang Jian was a reincarnation realm martial artist and had broken through to the Saint realm, it was impossible for him to break through the innate magical ability, Dragon Roar. Self-created martial technique, sorrow of the heavens and earth. Longao was like a tornado and used teleportation. In the next second, he appeared beside Yang Jian and instantly enveloped him. Teleportation, sorrow of the heavens and earth. In order to kill with one blow, Longao used 3 trump cards at the same time, in order to not give Yang Jian any chance to react. Longao knew very well that he was a whole level lower than Yang Jian. If Yang Jian had the upper hand, it would be harder for him to take back the initiative. A half-saint transformed the spiritual power in the body into Saint Qi. A saint would condense the saint origin power in his body into a saint elixir pill to strengthen his own strength. Yang Jian had never imagined that Longao's attacks would be so fierce. Each move was stronger than the last. Even he himself could not react in time. If it had been an ordinary warrior, such as Yang Feng, in a state of unstable mental state, Longao might have taken advantage of the situation and killed him directly. However, Yang Jian's situation was completely different. Firstly, Yang Jian was a reincarnation realm warrior, and his strength was not something that Yang Feng could compare with. Secondly, as a reincarnation realm warrior, Yang Jian's state of mind was relatively stable. Even if he was shocked, it would be difficult for his state of mind to be disturbed. In this way, Longao would be in even more danger in this battle. Heaven and earth grieved inside the tornado. When Longao directly released his chi of heaven and earth, Yang Jian was really shocked. Nirvana rebirth? Yang Jian did not dare to be the slightest bit careless. He discovered that Longao had too many secrets. He was a dragon martial artist, gifted magical powers, teleportation, and now he was releasing the chi of heaven and earth. Who was this person? Could it be that Longao is also a dragon warrior? Suddenly, Yang Jian seemed to have thought of something. He really could not figure out how Longao could be so powerful if he was not a so-called reincarnation realm warrior. With the strength of a half-saint, he could actually contend with a saint. Under normal circumstances, a half-saint warrior and a saint could not be compared at all. It was like a child standing in front of an adult and wanting to kill the adult with one palm. It was a joke in itself. What a normal half-saint warrior could not do was done by Longao. Moreover, he had just almost killed Yang Feng. This in itself showed that Longao's strength was enough to be called the number one person below the saint realm. Within the tornado, Longao used the chi of heaven and earth to try and limit Yang Jian's strength and speed. However, Yang Jian was ultimately a reincarnation realm warrior. He instantly broke through the chi of heaven and earth and began to counterattack. No one outside the tornado could see the great battle inside, but everyone could guess the outcome. Yang Jian would definitely kill Longao. In everyone's eyes, it was impossible for a half-saint to defeat a saint. Long Bai clenched his fists tightly. Even now, Long Bai seemed to be unable to react. No matter what, he had never imagined that his uncle, his biological uncle, was not a member of the Long family, but a reincarnation realm warrior from the sacred land. What should he do? What should the family do? Long Bai seemed to be at a loss. Longao, I will show you what the power of the divine way is. Yang Jian did not dare to be careless in the slightest. His opponent's strength had already exceeded his understanding. If he was unlucky and was killed, he would have suffered a great loss. It was precisely because of this that Yang Jian had used the remnant will of his spirit in order to ensure that nothing went wrong and that he could successfully kill Longao. A terrifying aura of the divine way surged out. Even though it could not suppress the chi of heaven and earth, it could suppress the grief of the heavens and earth. It would cause him to lose control and suppress his strength and speed. Having already fought with Wang Hao, Longao seemed to have gained some experience. He very calmly countered Yang Jian's every move. The tornado disappeared and Longao continuously used spatial teleportation to attack Yang Jian from different directions. The battle between the two of them had escalated, rising from the ground to the sky. Everyone was dumbfounded by the sight. Longao had actually lasted for such a long time? Everyone found it hard to believe. This was the first time that Longao had broken the norm. Not only could a half-saint fight a saint, he could even fight a saint to the death. Yang Feng's face was very gloomy. He had never imagined that because of a small Longao, not only had the sect lost 5 half-saints, but he had also almost been killed. Most importantly, the fact that the old ancestor was a reincarnation realm cultivator had been leaked. He believed that Yun City could no longer stay. Divine Way cultivators or other cultivators were most afraid of reincarnation realm cultivators. Once other people knew, there would be many people who would want to strangle the old ancestor in the cradle. They would not give the old ancestor a chance to awaken his spirit. At this moment, Yang Feng had never imagined that the old ancestor would use the remnant will of his spirit. In this way, it would be even more difficult for the old ancestor to comprehend the remnant will of his spirit. Who exactly was Longao? Longao's sudden appearance completely messed up the Holy Land, causing the Holy Land to be in a sorry state. The anger in Yang Feng's heart erupted like a volcano. However, the old ancestor had already taken action, so he couldn't help. Otherwise, he would lose face, and the old ancestor might vent his anger on him. In the end, Yang Feng forced himself to endure. At this moment, Yang Feng only had one wish, and that was that the old ancestor could kill Longao and suppress Yun City. As for the fact that the old ancestor was a reincarnation realm cultivator, it seemed that the old ancestor could only hide it for the time being. P.S. Today's minimum is 10 chapters. If there is time, I will update more. Everyone, please vote for Longao. Little 9 thanks. Chapter 591. Longao and Yang Jian's battle continued to escalate. Yang Jian originally thought that he could easily defeat his opponent by using his soul remnant will. But the result? Yang Jian was extremely depressed. As a reincarnation realm cultivator and a saint realm cultivator, he couldn't even deal with a mere half-step saint. Where was his face? Thinking of this, Yang Jian attacked even more crazily. Gradually, Longao started to be unable to resist. But with pressure, there was motivation. Longao had already absorbed a lot of soul remnant will. It was just that he hadn't merged with it yet. Now, under the constant pressure, his soul remnant will quickly merged with it. His realm also started to loosen. Gotcha. Longao's face lit up. He hadn't broken through for a long time. Now, he instantly became a high-level half-step saint. Breakthrough in battle. Sensing that Longao's aura wasn't right, when everyone knew that Longao had broken through in battle, they were shocked to discover that not only had he not been killed by Yang Jian, but he had also broken through 2 realms. What kind of concept was this? Longao clearly knew that although this battle was filled with danger, it was a rare opportunity for him. Since his cultivation could break through 2 realms, then it wasn't impossible for him to continue breaking through. Just as Longao thought of this, his aura suddenly soared again. The high-level half-step saint instantly broke through to the peak half-step saint realm. He was only 1 step away from officially breaking through to the saint realm. Peak half-step saint. Yang Jian, who was attacking Longao, suddenly felt Longao break through 2 or 3 times. His expression changed slightly. Yang Jian also started to panic. He used more and more soul remnant will. Because of this, although Longao had broken through, he still couldn't resist Yang Jian's powerful attacks. This was the biggest difference between a half-step saint and a saint. Master, use the Chaos Tablet. Chaos Tablet? Hearing Long Fu's reminder, Longao was depressed to the extreme. Although he also wanted to use the Primal Chaos Stone Tablet, was it possible? The Chaos Tablet was the most powerful artifact in the world. However, Longao was no fool. Since Long Fu had said so, it seemed that he should be able to use the Chaos Stone Tablet's power. He tried to sense the Primal Chaos Stone Tablet. At this moment, Longao suddenly felt as if his flesh and blood were connected. He was very curious. Previously, he had not been able to sense the Primal Chaos Stone Tablet, but now he had such a feeling. What exactly happened? Although he was shocked, Longao was pleasantly surprised. He tried to communicate with the Chaos Stone Tablet. In the next second, a rectangular stone appeared in Longao's hand. At first glance, it looked like a brick. It was not a Chaos Stone Tablet at all. Brick? Everyone looked at the brick that suddenly appeared in Longao's hand. They were all dumbfounded. Could it be that Longao wanted to use the brick to fight the enemy? When Yang Jian saw the brick in Longao's hand, he was also surprised. He smiled and said, "Longao, is your brain damaged?" Longao didn't waste any more words. He was also looking forward to the power of the Primal Chaos Stone Tablet. Holding the Primal Chaos Stone Tablet in his hand, he smashed it fiercely. However, Longao couldn't sense any aura at all. What was going on? Longao didn't believe him. Long Fu wouldn't let him use the Primal Chaos Stone Tablet for no reason. But could a Primal Chaos Stone Tablet without any power help him smash a saint to death? However, at this moment, Longao suddenly felt that the Chaos Stone Tablet in his hand seemed to be a bit heavier. Longao didn't care too much. Yang Jian didn't place Longao or the brick in Longao's eyes at all. He punched out with both fists. Yang Jian wanted to use pure strength to directly destroy Longao. But at this moment, Yang Jian's expression changed. That was because the brick in Longao's hand seemed to have 10,000 pounds of weight. Gotcha! The sound of bones breaking came from his left and right arms. The Chaos Stone Tablet had shrunk, but its original strength was still there. It was at least a few million pounds. Longao had already been recognized by the Chaos Stone Tablet and was slowly fusing with it. Of course, he didn't feel any weight. But to others, the situation was completely different. A few million pounds was something that even a saint wouldn't be able to block. A single brick had nearly killed Longao. Not to mention others, even Longao was stunned. The Chaos Stone Tablet seemed to be too heaven-defying. However, Longao was overjoyed. He had never imagined that the Chaos Stone Tablet's strength would be so tyrannical. Just one smash had nearly killed Yang Jian. Although there was more or less contempt in Yang Jian's heart, Long Ao knew that the Chaos Stone Tablet was terrifying. Without the slightest hesitation, Long Ao viciously smashed the brick at Yang Jian. With the previous example, how would Yang Jian dare to continue fighting head-on? As he dodged continuously, he felt extremely frustrated in his heart. Just what was that brick in his opponent's hand? A divine artifact? In an instant, Yang Jian had already guessed that although the brick in Long Ao's hand looked ordinary, it was actually a powerful divine artifact. As a divine martial artist in his previous life, how could he not recognize a divine artifact? If he was at his peak, he wouldn't be afraid at all. But the current situation was different. His opponent was already a peak half-saint. With the help of a powerful divine artifact, he could compare to a saint. If he didn't pay attention, wouldn't he die in vain? Because of this, Yang Jian didn't dare to be the slightest bit careless. At this moment, Yang Feng, who had been wavering left and right, suddenly charged forward. In this battle, first it was a swarm, then it was a battle of attrition, and now it was a battle of numbers. One had to admit that the Holy Land was shameless to the extreme. Even if they won this battle, the Holy Land's reputation would be completely lost. But things had already come to this point. Yang Jian and Yang Feng couldn't care less. Two saints teamed up to fight Long Ao alone, but Long Ao didn't have the slightest fear. With the brick in hand, he rushed out and smashed left and right, instantly engaging in a fierce battle with the two saints. Smashing the brick madly, 1 against 2. In this battle, Long Ao had already become the god of war in everyone's hearts, the god of war. Whether Long Ao lived or died in this battle, the 4 words Long Ao's god of war would spread throughout the countless islands in the outer sea. With the strength of one person, he killed 4 saints and fought 2 saints alone. How many people in the world could do this? Long Ao fought Yang Jian and Yang Feng alone. The battle between the 3 could be described as earth-shattering. They fought from the ground to the 9th heaven, and from the 9th heaven to the ground. Back and forth, the battle between the 3 continued to escalate. Neither Yang Jian nor Yang Feng dared to touch the brick in Long Ao's hand. As for Yang Jian's broken arms, they were instantly reconnected. After all, this kind of fracture was nothing to a saint. But even so, Yang Jian knew the power of Long Ao's brick. P.S. I got up late and went to bed late last night. My wife didn't allow me to get up. Hee hee, please forgive me. Chapter 592. Long Ao was fighting 1 against 2, but he still had the upper hand. Everyone was very clear in their hearts that the biggest reason why Long Ao was able to force the 2 of them was because of the brick in his hands. No one knew the origin of the brick in Long Ao's hand. It was actually able to fight against 2 saints by itself and forcefully suppress the joint forces of 2 saints. The brick was too powerful. Long Ao kept smashing the brick in his hand, not giving the 2 any chance to breathe. Now that things had reached this point, Yang Feng and Yang Jian both had thoughts of retreating. As the saying goes, revenge is a dish best served cold. As long as the green hills remain, one need not worry about firewood. The 2 looked at each other and turned to leave at the same time. However, at this moment, Long Ao suddenly used the so-called spatial teleportation and directly appeared in front of Yang Feng. Without any hesitation, he kicked Yang Feng's butt. Ancestor. Yang Jian did not care about Yang Feng's life at all. He ran away as fast as he could and disappeared without a trace in the blink of an eye. Yang Jian abandoned Yang Feng? Everyone cursed Yang Jian fiercely. No matter what, Yang Feng was still a member of the Sacred Land. This time, the Sacred Land was completely destroyed. No one could have predicted this result. Yang Jian ran away, but Yang Feng stayed. Originally, as a saint, if Yang Feng fought with all his strength, it was still unknown whether Long Ao could kill him. However, Yang Feng was in despair now. He seemed to have forgotten that Long Ao was actually only a half-saint and not a saint. Therefore, he gave up resisting. Long Ao didn't have the slightest bit of mercy because he deeply understood that being merciful to the enemy was being cruel to oneself. Rather than having endless troubles in the future, it was better to cut the weeds and eliminate the roots now. Longao put the Chaos Stone tablet into his dantian and started smashing with both fists. Kill the chicken to warn the monkey. Longao knew very well that he would leave Cloud Island sooner or later. Even if Longao could suppress Cloud Island temporarily with his power, what about the future? Therefore, Longao was prepared to smash Yang Feng to death as a show for the surrounding people. In just a few minutes, Yang Feng was already on the verge of death. Longao directly smashed him to death and directly put Yang Qin's soul slave into the blood pool, preparing to refine his soul. Longao finally realized the benefits of having a powerful soul. If not for the fact that he had fused with his soul, not to mention making a breakthrough in his cultivation, he would have been killed by Yang Jian by now. After killing 4 half-step saints and smashing Yang Feng to death, Longao stood there like a war god, his might unrivaled. The Longao battle god, the might of the battle god. Everyone looked at Longao with fear and trepidation. After that, Longao handed over everything to Longbai. With the help of the 10 great sacred beasts, Longbai was confident that he could completely destroy the sacred ground in a short time. Longbai was very worried. Even if the Long family temporarily became the overlord of Cloud Island, it would not be easy for them to maintain their position. However, all these problems were no longer a problem. No matter what, the Long family had the 10 great sacred beasts to protect them. Dominating Cloud Island would be a simple matter. Longbai heaved a sigh of relief. Fortunately, he had come this time. Otherwise, it would be hard to imagine how the sacred ground would deal with the Long family in the future. The news of Longao destroying the sacred ground spread out in an instant. Those who received the news were all shocked. From this moment on, Longao's name was completely famous in the Cloud Island. Word of the battle god Longao also spread. With regards to this nickname, Longao felt helpless. However, there was nothing he could do about it. Unknowingly, the news of Longao on the Cloud Island spread out slowly. The surrounding islands all knew that there was such a god of war on the Cloud Island. There were obviously many people in this world who had nothing better to do. When they heard that Longao had called himself the battle god, they were immediately unhappy. The half-sages and saints of the surrounding islands all rushed over, wanting to see the so-called battle god of Cloud Island. Longao chose to ignore them. Longao dealt with all the challengers. With the Chaos Stone tablet, he was not afraid of any saints. As for half-sages, they were simply courting death. Long family. Master Long, thank you very much. Otherwise, the Long family would definitely have fallen into eternal damnation. Longao naturally knew what Longbai was talking about. He nodded and said, "This matter ends here. In a few days, I will leave Cloud Island. Remember, if Wang Hao and Yang Jian come looking for trouble, you can only use your wits and not your strength." Longao was only worried about 2 people. One was Wang Hao, and the other was Yang Jian. If he left and Wang Hao and Yang Jian came, based on their strength and situation, it should not be difficult for them to destroy the 10 Saint Beast Corpse slaves. If that was really the case, how would the Long family deal with it? However, Longao knew that he had to do it. The reason was very simple. He was very worried about the safety of the 9 states. Longao had not returned to Tianzhou since the end of the Beast Tide. He knew nothing about the current situation in Tianzhou. Therefore, Longao was a little impatient. "Master Long, please don't worry. We will not be reckless. Yes, I will definitely return after I settle the matters of the 9 states. Master, you must come back." Nodding, Longao continued to stay on Cloud Island. He was very much looking forward to Wang Hao and Yang Jian's return. If that was really the case, then everyone would be happy and everything would be settled in one go. Yang Jian did not come, but Longao waited for Wang Hao to come. By the sea. Longao, congratulations on destroying the sacred land and killing Yang Feng. Wang Hao, you are really brave. You clearly know that you are not my match, but you still dare to come. Oh right, I almost forgot. Your cultivation has already broken through to the Saint Realm. Sensing Wang Hao's aura, Longao was very surprised. This cultivation speed was a little too heaven-defying. Although he knew that Wang Hao was a rebirth realm cultivator and could not think like a normal person, Longao could not help but sigh. No wonder so many Divine Way cultivators were willing to take such a risk to enter the path of reincarnation. No matter what, the temptation was too great. Longao seemed to be unable to resist. Wang Hao, even if you have broken through to the Saint Realm, do you think you can defeat me? Longao was very curious. The news of him killing Yang Feng and scaring Yang Jin away should have spread. It was impossible that Wang Hao did not know. But why did Wang Hao still come? Was Wang Hao confident that he could defeat Yang Jin? As if he could see the doubts in Longao's heart, Wang Hao suddenly sneered and said, Longao, I called you here for one thing. If you agree, it will be very beneficial for you. It will not be a problem for you to break through to the Supreme Divine Way in the future. Supreme Divine Way? Longao was very curious. He did not know what Supreme Divine Way Wang Hao was talking about. P.S. Chapter 3. Today is still the 10th chapter. Don't worry, I will definitely finish it. Chapter 593. Wang Hao didn't seem to want to talk about the Supreme Tao. Longao, have you heard of the Deity Island? Wang Hao, cut the crap. Whether it's the Deity Island or the Devil Island, since you've come to find me, then let's settle the grudge between us. Not giving Wang Hao the slightest chance to speak at all, Longao already rushed out with a big stride. Wang Hao was depressed. He wanted to use Lin Fan to his advantage, but Lin Fan didn't give him the chance. Helpless, Wang Hao could only choose to fight. In fact, Wang Hao was still afraid of Lin Fan. He thought that after breaking through to the Saint Realm, he could kill Longao. But in the end, Longao was able to kill Yang Feng and scare Yang Jin away. This showed how strong Longao was. Brick. Wang Hao asked the same question. Longao was able to kill Yang Feng and scare Yang Jin away because of a brick. A brick? Who would believe that? But Wang Hao was 100% convinced. Furthermore, he was very excited. That was because Wang Hao had already guessed that the brick in Longao's hand was very likely the Primal Chaos Stone Tablet. He really hadn't expected that Longao would obtain the Primal Chaos Stone Tablet and rely on it to smash Yang Feng to death. The more it was like this, the more Wang Hao wanted to get the Primal Chaos Tablet. There was only one way to get the Primal Chaos Tablet, and that was to kill Longao. The two of them fought back and forth. Longao didn't use the Primal Chaos Tablet immediately. In Longao's heart, Wang Hao was far more dangerous than Yang Jin. Longao was sure that Wang Hao's original body was much stronger than Yang Jin's. In other words, once Wang Hao and Yang Jin awakened their divine souls at the same time, Wang Hao's strength would far surpass Yang Jin's. Heaven and earth sorrow, spatial teleportation, and innate ability. Longao didn't want to continue fighting because he didn't have much time left. So this time, Wang Hao finally came. If he couldn't kill Wang Hao this time, then it wouldn't be easy to kill Wang Hao in the future. It was precisely because of this that Longao's attacks were endless, not giving Wang Hao the slightest chance to catch his breath. This made Wang Hao very depressed, because from the beginning to the end, Wang Hao was very afraid of Longao. Wang Hao didn't know when Longao would suddenly take out the Primal Chaos Stone Tablet. No matter how it was said, the lesson of the past was there for all to see. Longao had used the Chaos Stone Tablet to directly kill Yang Feng and scare away Yang Jin. This in itself was enough to prove the power of the Chaos Stone Tablet. Longao closed in step by step, while Wang Hao retreated step by step. At this moment, Longao was depressed to the extreme because he had just sensed the Chaos Stone Tablet. He wanted to use the Chaos Stone Tablet to directly smash Wang Hao to death, cutting the weeds and pulling out the roots, forever eliminating future troubles. But what made Longao feel incomparably depressed was that he couldn't sense the Chaos Stone Tablet at all, let alone use the Chaos Stone Tablet to fight against the enemy. Longao didn't know what was going on at all. Unable to use the Chaos Stone Tablet, Longao was very clear in his heart that it was impossible to kill Wang Hao. It was because of this that Longao slowed down the speed of his attacks. In his mind, he thought of all sorts of methods to deal with the enemy. Gradually, Wang Hao realized that something was wrong and seemed to have guessed something. Suddenly, Wang Hao began to fiercely attack. As the battle continued to escalate, Wang Hao finally confirmed one thing, and that was that Longao couldn't use the Chaos Stone Tablet at all. In other words, Longao couldn't completely control the Chaos Stone tablet. Thinking of this, Wang Hao was pleasantly surprised to the extreme. His attacks became more and more intense, each move stronger and faster than the last. Slowly, Longao began to be unable to resist. After all, the difference in cultivation realm couldn't be made up for by other things. Peng. Longao was hit by Wang Hao and his body flew out. His expression changed. Wang Hao didn't give Longao any chance at all. Fist after fist fiercely landed on Longao's body. Fortunately, Longao had the desolate godly body. Otherwise, an ordinary person would have been killed by such attacks. But at this time, Longao didn't resist at all and allowed Wang Hao to attack. If people who knew Longao saw this, they would be very curious because this wasn't like Longao at all. Die. Just when Wang Hao thought that Longao was dead, a terrifying aura suddenly erupted from Longao's body. Then, the Saint Qi in Longao's body began to condense instantly. In just a few seconds, a golden saint pill appeared in Longao's dantian. Saint. Under Wang Hao's continuous attacks, Longao finally broke through the final bottleneck and directly broke through from the peak of the half-step saint to the beginner saint. The breakthrough in cultivation realm caused Longao's strength to soar instantly. There was no need to use the Chaos Stone tablet at all. Longao was no longer afraid of Wang Hao with his own strength. If it was an ordinary warrior, even if their cultivation realm broke through to the saint realm, they would definitely be no match for Wang Hao. But Longao's situation was completely different. His strength was very strong, and with all kinds of trump cards, although Longao had just broken through to the saint realm, he could definitely fight with Wang Hao. Wang Hao also never thought that Longao would be able to break through under such circumstances. Innate divine ability, Dragon's Roar. Even though Wang Hao was prepared, he was still locked in. The surrounding time began to flow backward. Longao used spatial teleportation at this time and instantly came to Wang Hao's side. The wild blood saber in his hand had already slashed out meaninglessly. Longao used all his strength in this slash. If Wang Hao was hit, he would definitely die. But at this time, a cloud of blood mist suddenly erupted from Wang Hao's body as he used the blood escape martial technique. Only the blood mist could be seen. By the time Longao reacted, Wang Hao had already left. Longao, the mountains will not change and the rivers will flow forever. I will be anxious to settle this debt. One day, I will take it back with interest. Trash. Longao did not take Wang Hao seriously because this time, Wang Hao not only used the remnant of his spirit, but also used the blood escape martial technique. This kind of martial technique looked very powerful, but it actually hurt his vitality. With the combination of the two, Wang Hao wanted to recover and comprehend the spirit to break through to the divine path. God knew how long it would take. Of the two dangers, Wang Hao was no longer a concern. There was only one person left, and that was Yang Jian of the Holy Land. Until now, Yang Jian had not shown up. It was harder than ascending to the sky to find one person in the vast sea of people. Longao shrugged helplessly. It seemed that he could only hope that Yang Jian would take the initiative to show up. But Longao knew that unless Yang Jian continued to break through to the so-called Earth Sage or Heaven Sage, it would be very difficult for Yang Jian to show up. There was no other way. Longao really could not wait any longer. He was preparing to officially leave Cloud Island and return to the 9 states in 10 days. At this moment, Longao's mood could be said to be like an arrow. He could not wait to return to the sects and families of the 9 states immediately to see if the master and family were fine. Chapter 594. Cloud Island, Long Family's Main Hall. Family Head Long, I want to ask you something. Have you heard of the mythical island? Mythical island? Long Bai's expression changed when he heard the words, mythical island. Family Head Long, how do you know about the mythical island? Longao didn't hide anything and told Long Bai everything that had happened between him and Wang Hao. Long Bai heaved a deep sigh of relief after he finished listening. No matter what, Wang Hao's current state was good news for the Long family. Long Bai nodded and said, "Of course I know about the mythical island. As a member of the Outer Sea, I believe that anyone from the outer sea knows about the mythical island. As expected, Longao was delighted. It seemed that Longao was telling the truth about the mythical island. The more this was true, the more curious Longao became. He wanted to know what the mythical island was. As if he could sense Longao's anxiety, Longbai immediately said, "Master Long, the mythical island is known as the #1 power in the outer sea. It controls the entire outer sea, and its strength is extremely terrifying. According to legend, the mythical island alone has no less than 100 divine practitioners." Cough, 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 cough. Longao almost choked when he heard Longbai's words. He knew very well what 100 divine practitioners represented. Longao knew that the mythical island was definitely not simple if it could become the #1 power in the outer sea. "Master Long, are you planning to go to the mythical island?" Longao waved his hand and said, "In 10 days, I will leave Cloud Island, but not to the mythical island. I will return to the 9 states." Longao wasn't idle. He was just a passerby to the outer sea. If it wasn't for Long Hong, he would have left the outer sea long ago. Therefore, Longao didn't want to cause trouble. The 4 great powers were enough to give him a headache. Longao didn't continue. During these 10 days, he taught Long Hong the way of alchemy and the way of cultivation. 10 days later, Longao left Cloud Island on a boat under the gaze of Long Hong and the others. He prepared to return to the 9 states. The outer sea was boundless. No one knew how big the outer sea was. Even a supreme Dao martial artist could not do the same. Longao didn't know how big the outer seas were, but according to the map that Longbai had given him, as long as he followed this route, he should be able to return to the 9 provinces in a month's time. 1 month. A month might not be much for a martial artist, but sailing in the open sea for an entire month was a little terrifying. Helplessly shrugging, Longao sat quietly on the deck, sensing the chaos stone tablet within his body. If he hadn't broken through to the Saint Realm in time, not to mention severely injuring Wang Hao, he might not even have been able to survive. In the Dragon Seal space, Longao really couldn't understand, so he could only ask Long Fu. So he went straight to the point and asked, "Long Fu, I'm sure you know what happened before. I really want to ask why I couldn't use the Chaos Stone Tablet before." "Master, this matter is actually very simple. Although the Chaos Stone Tablet has acknowledged you, you have not completely fused with it. So if Master wants to use the Chaos Stone Tablet, you must first see how it feels. See how the Chaos Stone Tablet feels." When he heard Long Fu's words, Longao was depressed to the extreme. In other words, if he wanted to use the Chaos Stone Tablet to fight, he first had to see if the Chaos Stone Tablet was in a good mood. If it was in a good mood, he could use it as he pleased. If it wasn't, sorry, the Chaos Stone Tablet wouldn't even acknowledge him. Longao didn't continue to ask because he was probably the only one who would encounter such a pain in the ass. He didn't continue to think about the Chaos Stone Tablet because according to Long Fu, as long as he could completely fuse with the Chaos Stone Tablet, he could use it whenever he wanted. Looking at the boundless sea, Longao's state of mind had never been so calm. It was like he was a little fish in the sea. Gradually, Longao entered a very strange world. Here, no one ate another. No one schemed against each other. It was like a paradise. In the Dragon Seal space, sensing that his master seemed to have entered a state of enlightenment, Long Fu was very excited. He said to himself, "Master has finally entered a state of enlightenment. I believe that this enlightenment will bring about a qualitative change to Master." Longao was calmly looking at the sea for the first time, so he instantly entered a state of enlightenment. Enlightenment, for every martial artist, was a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity, because every time one entered a state of enlightenment, their cultivation would increase by leaps and bounds. Counting it, ever since Longao started cultivating, including this time, he had only entered a state of enlightenment twice. It was easy to imagine what enlightenment meant to a martial artist. This time's enlightenment lasted for a full 3 days. Suddenly opening his eyes, Longao stood up and stretched. He was both surprised and happy because his realm didn't increase in the slightest. He was still a so-called primary saint, but this time's enlightenment made Longao pleasantly surprised. This time's enlightenment allowed Longao to completely fuse with nature. Unknowingly, his spatial teleportation had increased from 150 meters to 1,500 meters. A hundredfold increase. What kind of concept was that? Not only that, Longao's realm didn't increase, but everything else had increased. For Longao, this could be said to be something that could only be chanced upon and not sought. Boom. Longao, who had just finished his epiphany, did not have the time to be pleasantly surprised and happy. At this time, the sea began to roll unceasingly. Huge waves surged up to the sky. One wave after another came rolling over. The waves were turbulent. Longao was shocked. Of course, he knew that this wasn't a simple natural phenomenon. If there was no accident, there should be a powerful saint beast causing trouble in the sea. His luck was really bad, encountering such a thing. Grandfather, it's this shameless human that injured me. You must avenge me. Looking at the sudden appearance of the golden tiger shark, Longao instantly understood what had happened. It seemed like the golden tiger shark had found a helper. Grandfather? The golden tiger shark was already a rank 1 saint beast. Then, wouldn't the golden tiger shark's grandfather be a rank 2 saint beast? Or a rank 3 saint beast? But in the next second, Longao's face completely changed. Because at this time, a golden tiger shark the size of a small mountain suddenly appeared in front of him. The size didn't matter. Longao could clearly sense that this golden tiger shark wasn't a saint beast, nor was it a great emperor spiritual beast. It was a genuine divine beast. That's right, it was a divine beast. Longao never thought that the golden tiger shark would attract a divine beast to take revenge on him. What kind of joke was this? Even if Longao was confident in his strength, if he had to face a divine beast, it would be best to forget about it. Longao still had a trace of self-awareness. He didn't dare to be careless and immediately abandoned the ship. It was a super existence that couldn't be contended with. Therefore, there was no difference between Void God Divine Beast and other divine beasts in front of him. Master, I have a way to deal with the golden tiger shark. What is it? Hearing that Long Fu actually had a way to deal with the golden tiger shark, Longao was instantly delighted. However, his speed didn't decrease at all. Master, the ocean is boundless. No one knows how many divine beasts there are in the ocean, and every divine beast has its natural enemy. If Master is able to lure out the natural enemy of the golden tiger shark, then you can sit back and reap the benefits. Longao had an impulse to curse. Although Long Fu's method wasn't bad, at this moment, how could he lure out the golden tiger shark's natural enemy and cut off the connection with Long Fu? Longao was prepared to rely on himself this time. If it was 3 days ago, encountering such a powerful divine beast, Longao knew that he would die for sure. However, the situation now was completely different. The unintentional enlightenment caused the distance of spatial teleportation to expand from 1.5 meters to 1,500 meters. It increased by a whole 100 times. In other words, even if he wasn't a match for the divine beast, at least with speed, he could directly ignore the golden tiger shark. However, Longao obviously underestimated the golden tiger shark's speed. In a blink of an eye, the golden tiger shark's angry voice had already sounded, scaring Longao to continue using spatial teleportation. If it wasn't for spatial teleportation, Longao would have already been caught by the golden tiger shark and chopped into pieces. Therefore, he had to admit that spatial teleportation was indeed very powerful. Even divine beasts couldn't catch up with Longao. It was precisely because of this that Longao was fearless. However, Longao clearly knew that he couldn't use spatial teleportation without limit. Once his soul couldn't maintain it, only death would await him in the end. Therefore, in Longao's mind, he thought of countless ways to deal with the golden tiger shark. After thinking for a while, Longao still couldn't think of a better way. All of a sudden, a dragon's roar sounded and Long Chang's body appeared on the surface of the sea, staring at the golden tiger shark that had already caught up. Dragon Clan? Looking at the black dragon that suddenly appeared in midair, the golden tiger shark instantly understood what had happened. Dragon martial artist? The other party was actually a powerful dragon martial artist. This is a grudge between me and him. I hope the dragon clan won't interfere. The dragon's roar sounded. Although Long Chong couldn't speak, the golden tiger shark, as a divine beast, of course could understand Long Chong's meaning. After listening, the golden tiger shark's face became gloomy. He stared at the human in front of him and suddenly said, "Human, seeing that you are a dragon martial artist, you can't escape death. As long as you hand over your Saint Pill, I will let you go. You should wash up and go home to sleep." Of course, it was impossible for Longao to hand over the Saint Elixir Pill. What a joke. The Saint Elixir Pill was like a second life for a saint. If a saint lost his Saint Elixir Pill, it was equivalent to losing his own strength. This was a very cruel thing for a warrior. As a martial artist, Longao would rather die in battle than hand over his Saint Pill. He didn't even need to think about it, and didn't say any nonsense because Longao knew that this battle couldn't be avoided. Since that was the case, why waste his breath? Long Chong had always followed Longao's lead. Longao said that he would fight. Long Chong didn't say anything. One man and one dragon joined forces. Longao stepped on Long Chong's body and faced the golden tiger shark from afar. "Ha ha ha ha, you are simply courting death." Seeing that one man and one dragon were ready to fight, the golden tiger shark looked as if he had seen the most ridiculous thing in the world. His eyes turned cold and a stream of water suddenly shot out from the golden tiger shark's body. It was as fast as a meteor and disappeared in the blink of an eye. Longao and Long Chong didn't dare to be careless. The two of them hurriedly dodged, but even so, the two of them were almost hit by the attack. This was the strength of a divine beast. Chapter 596. A god beast was a super existence comparable to a divine realm martial artist. Before Longao and Long Chong could make a move, 4 golden tiger sharks appeared around them. They were all at the great emperor realm. Without a doubt, these 4 golden tiger sharks were the sons of god beasts. Longao was depressed. It seemed that he had provoked a clan this time. After beating up the young, the middle and the old came together. Not daring to be the slightest bit careless, Longao and Long Chong prepared to break out. But at this time, it was unknown what the golden tiger sharks did, but Longao felt dizzy. Not good. Longao instantly sent Long Chong into the dragon seal space. Then, a terrifying strength smashed into Longao's body. Longao was like a kite with its string cut. He fell into the sea and disappeared from sight. The golden tiger sharks didn't dare to give up unless they saw a corpse. Like this, the 5 golden tiger sharks began to search the sea. The sea was calm and tranquil. The outer seas were boundless. According to legends, there were countless islands in the outer seas. No one knew just how many divine realm martial artists were in the outer seas, but some people once said that the overall strength of the outer seas far surpassed that of the 9-province continent. Although the outer seas had never been compared to the 9-province continent, there was no smoke without fire. It was believed that the outer seas wouldn't be too weak. Cloud Island, Long family. The current Long family was no longer the same as before. Ever since Longao destroyed the Holy Lands, Longao had personally appointed the Long family as the overlord of Cloud Island. With Longao's warning, who would dare to provoke the Long family? Not just that, but before Longao left Cloud Island, he had left 10 saint beasts with the Long family. Longao's meaning was simple. Thus, the Long family's position as the overlord of Cloud Island was very stable, even comparable to a Holy Land. Ever since his master left, Long Hong hadn't dared to rest for even a moment. He had been diligently cultivating. With Long Heng's talent in addition to his thunder physique, his cultivation speed could be said to be incredibly fast. In just several months, he had officially broken into the World King realm and could even break into the World Sovereign realm at any moment. Long Bai was very impressed with Hong Er's cultivation speed, so he had ordered that no one was to disturb Hong Er's cultivation. The second month after Longao left the Cloud Island, Yang Jian, who had disappeared for 2 months, suddenly appeared in Cloud City. Everyone was so scared that they started to worry about the safety of the Long family. Everyone knew that Longao had barged into the Holy Land alone and killed 4 half-sages and 1 sage. He had already reached a point where one of them had to die. Back then, Longao had scared Yang Jin away and destroyed the Holy Land, allowing the Long family to replace the Holy Land and dominate the Cloud Island. Yang Jin's sudden appearance, as long as one was not a fool, one could guess Yang Jin's intentions. If it was an ordinary person, the Long family could completely ignore them. However, Yang Jin was a genuine saint. Even if the Long family had 10 saint beasts, it would not be an easy task to fight against Yang Jin. There was no doubt that Yang Jin had attacked the Long family as soon as he appeared. What drove Yang Jin crazy was that when he arrived at the Long family, he found that the entire place was empty. He did not even see a chicken, let alone a person. Yang Jin was not a fool and instantly understood what had happened. Longao again. Yang Jin hated Longao to the core and wanted nothing more than to tear Longao to pieces. However, Yang Jin was not a reckless person because he knew very well that unless he made another breakthrough in his cultivation, he would not be a match for Longao. Clenching his fists tightly, Yang Jin scanned his surroundings with cold eyes. He sensed that there was indeed no one around. It seemed that the Long family had already left Cloud City. If the Long family was deliberately hiding from him in the vast outer sea, finding them would be like finding a needle in a haystack. It would be extremely difficult. Yang Jin knew that with the current strength of the Holy Land, it would be very difficult for them to make a comeback. It would take them a few years, or even decades to do so. Longao cursed in his heart. Yang Jin knew that the culprit behind all this was Longao. Therefore, he had to kill Longao. Yang Jin, can we have a chat? Yang Jin was very curious when he saw Wang Hao suddenly appear. However, he still nodded and said, "If you have something to say, say it. You and I have a common enemy, Longao. To tell you the truth, Longao and I are mortal enemies. If you and I join forces, killing Longao will be a matter of minutes. What do you think? Wang Hao, why should I join forces with you?" Wang Hao and Yang Jin obviously knew each other's identity. However, they had not exposed each other's identity for so many years in order to awaken their divine souls as soon as possible. On a small cloud island, there were actually 2 reincarnation realm warriors hiding. It was easy to imagine how terrifying the outer sea was. Yang Jin thought for a moment and said, "What are your conditions?" Yang Jin had lived 2 lives. Of course, he knew that Wang Hao would not be so nice as to join forces with him. As a reincarnation realm warrior, as long as Wang Hao awakened his divine soul, dealing with Longao would be a simple matter. Straightforward. I like your character. Brother Yang, my conditions are very simple. Kill Longao, and I only want the brick in his hand. How about it? Besides Longao, only Wang Hao knew what the brick represented. It was the Primal Chaos Stone Tablet. Wang Hao wished he could immediately obtain the Primal Chaos Stone Tablet. That way, not only could he awaken his divine soul, he could even use the Primal Chaos Stone Tablet to reach an unsurpassed realm and step onto the peak of martial arts. Brick? Yang Jin did not know what Longao's brick was, but the brick's power was there for all to see. Now that Wang Hao wanted it so badly, Yang Jin could guess what was going on. Brother Wang, since you have chosen to join forces with me, then we should be honest with each other. Tell me, what is the origin of the brick in Longao's hand? Although Yang Jin and Wang Hao were both reincarnation realm warriors, Wang Hao's peak strength in his previous life far surpassed Yang Jin's peak strength in his previous life. Yang Jin did not know this, but Wang Hao knew it clearly. It was because of this that Wang Hao said, "Brother Yang, I don't know if you have heard of the 12 Primal Chaos Stone Tablets that exist between the heavens and earth. Could it be that the brick in Longao's hand is one of the 12 Primal Chaos Stone Tablets?" Yang Jin was shocked to the extreme. He certainly knew what the 12 Primal Chaos Stone Tablets represented. It was also because of this that Yang Jin found it hard to imagine that the brick in Longao's hand was one of the legendary Primal Chaos Stone Tablets. No wonder it had such power. In an instant, Yang Jin's heart was filled with greed. That's right, the brick in Longao's hand is a Primal Chaos Stone Tablet. Since Brother Yang has heard of the legends of the primal chaos stone tablets, then everything will be easy. You and I can join forces to kill Longao and obtain the primal chaos stone tablets to comprehend together. What does Brother Yang think? No problem, but Longao's whereabouts are unknown right now. How do we find him? P.S. Brothers, Little Nine asks you to cast your recommendation votes and monthly votes. Longao's ranking is a bit too low, so I beg of you. Chapter 597. Longao had left Cloud Island and everyone knew that. Longao's identity was not a secret. Wang Hao and Yang Jian knew that if they wanted to find Longao, they had to leave the outer sea and head to 9 states. Although both of them were supreme Dao martial artists, they were reincarnated bodies after all. If they were to head to 9 states rashly, it would be counterproductive. Both of them nodded and Wang Hao said, even if we join forces, we might not be a match for Longao. Why don't we awaken our divine souls first and look for him after we break through to the great Emperor realm? It's a deal. It's hard to go back on my word. Yang Jian did not destroy Long family. No matter what, Long family was no longer around. If he did not even let go of the house, wouldn't he be laughed at? The news that everyone in Long family had disappeared and Long Jian had made a wasted trip had spread throughout Cloud City. It was only now that everyone knew that Long family had prepared for this. Before Long Jian could head over, they had already disappeared without a trace. Until now, there was no overlord on Cloud Island, and only Yi family was the overlord. If it was in the past, Yi family would definitely rule Cloud Island and live happily. But now, even if the sacred ground was destroyed and Long family was nowhere to be found, Yi family would not dare to rule Cloud Island casually. Yi family was not stupid. Long family was only afraid that Yang Jian would take revenge and left temporarily. If Yi family ruled Cloud Island and Long family returned to Cloud Island, how would Yi family face them? With Long family's current status, the 10 sacred beasts were enough to destroy Yi family easily. Therefore, even if the sacred ground was destroyed and Long family disappeared, no one dared to rule Cloud Island. Outer Sea. Tsunamis swept across countless islands. All the sects and families did not dare to step into the outer sea because every time that tsunami swept across the outer sea, no matter who it was, even supreme Dao martial artists, they would be instantly killed by the tsunamis. On the surface of the sea, Longao was lying quietly. With a groan, Longao suddenly opened his eyes. With just a glance, he heaved a sigh of relief. He was blessed with great fortune. Longao was very clear in his heart that he was able to escape the pursuit of the golden tiger shark. Firstly, he possessed the desolate divine body. Secondly, it was all thanks to the tsunami. Otherwise, he would have definitely been found by the golden tiger shark. Divine beasts were powerful enough to destroy the world. Even if they were in the outer sea, it wouldn't be difficult for them to find him. But at this time, a tsunami suddenly swept across the entire sea. Even a divine beast would not dare to fight against a tsunami. Unknowingly, the tsunami had saved his life. Looking at the terrifying tornadoes and tsunamis around him, Longao's expression instantly turned grave. Even the supreme Dao martial artists were afraid of the tsunami. How could he possibly resist it? Long Fu, can you help me hide in the sea? Although Longao was a powerful saint, it was impossible for him to hide in the sea for a long time. No matter what, no one knew how long the tsunami would last. If it lasted for 10 days or a few months, then he would be considered very unlucky. If he didn't die in the hands of the golden tiger shark, but died in the tsunami, he would suffer a great loss. Master, please wait a moment. Long Fu seemed to know the urgency of the matter and did not dare to be negligent. He took out a small blue ball the size of an eye and handed it to Longao. He said, Master, this is the water-repelling pearl left behind by the old master. It is extremely precious. As long as Master brings him into the sea, no matter how long it takes, nothing will happen. Receiving the water-repelling pearl from Long Fu, Longao was very depressed. Such a good thing, he didn't take it out before, causing him to almost be killed. Longao did not dare to hesitate. Who knew if the tsunami would sweep over? If he was unlucky and was swept by the tsunami, where would he go to reason? Longao knew that luck would not always favor you. Taking the water-repelling pearl, Longao went straight into the sea. In his life, this was the first time Longao had come to the outer sea. It was also the first time he went into the sea. Everything in the sea was so unfamiliar. However, Longao was still cautious and vigilant at all times. According to the legends, there were many divine beasts in the outer sea. If he was unlucky and casually encountered a divine beast, he would truly be like a sheep entering a tiger's den and would not be able to escape. He had to admit that the sea was indeed very beautiful. There were all kinds of colors, all kinds of spirit beasts, all kinds of living creatures. This was nature. This time, Longao's luck was not so good. He did not continue to have an epiphany. But even so, Longao was still very satisfied. For a martial artist, an epiphany was something that could only be chanced upon and not sought. Some martial artists would never have an epiphany in their entire life. Longao brought the water-repelling pearl with him. It was like a small space was separated from the surroundings. The water was unable to enter this small space. The water-repelling pearl was truly miraculous. No wonder Long Tian had kept it. Water dragon? Suddenly, Longao's body stopped. His eyes were as wide as an ox's. He had an expression of disbelief as he looked at a small, mountain-sized dragon not far away. The entire dragon was no different from other dragons. The only difference was that the dragon's entire body was blue. It was sleeping soundly. If not for the sound of the water dragon snoring, Longao believed that it would be very difficult for him to discover the existence of the water dragon. The water dragon was one of the most powerful dragons in the dragon clan. Especially in the outer sea, the water dragon could almost be compared to a 5-clawed golden dragon. But on land, the strength of the water dragon would plummet. Not to mention a 5-clawed golden dragon, it would not even be able to defeat an ordinary dragon. Longao had never thought that he would encounter such a powerful divine beast in less than an hour after entering the sea. It seemed like the outer sea was really full of hidden dragons and crouching tigers. Even divine beasts could be seen everywhere. Longao only watched quietly. He did not dare to disturb, because the strength of the divine beast water dragon was too terrifying. Even 10 golden tiger sharks were not a match for one divine beast water dragon. Longao did not continue forward because he did not know when the tsunami would disappear. He had been seriously injured by the golden tiger sharks before, so he could take advantage of this opportunity to recuperate. If he went to other places, he might encounter other sacred beasts or divine beasts at any time. He might even encounter a golden tiger shark. The gains would not make up for the losses. The divine beast water dragon, he believed that it was the most powerful divine beast in the outer sea. As long as he hid beside the water dragon and cultivated, even if the golden tiger sharks came, they would not dare to act blindly without thinking. With a mischievous smile, Longao immediately sat on the ground and began to cultivate. The tsunami was still there, and the sea was turbulent. But the 5 golden tiger sharks were frantically searching for the corpse of their enemy. But there were some places that the 5 golden tiger sharks did not dare to approach, such as the divine beast water dragon. They're here. Looking at the 5 golden tiger sharks slowly approaching from a distance, Longao's heart suddenly thumped. Chapter 598. Longao didn't dare to be careless. Although he had the water dragon by his side, he didn't know the relationship between the golden tiger shark and the water dragon. Golden tiger shark, why did you barge into my forbidden area? As a divine beast, the golden tiger shark's aura was there. With Longao's concealment and Long Fu's help, even the water dragon couldn't detect Longao's presence. Senior water dragon, it's like this. Although they were both divine beasts, the golden tiger shark and the water dragon weren't on the same level. After listening, the water dragon didn't seem to be interested in the golden tiger shark. It snorted and didn't say anything, but its meaning was clear. Cursing in his heart, the golden tiger shark was afraid of this kind of situation. The outer sea was too big and boundless. There were many divine beasts in the outer sea, and divine beasts stronger than him could be found everywhere. Because of this, there were many places that the golden tiger shark couldn't enter. Left with no choice, the golden tiger shark retreated respectfully because he didn't want to provoke the water dragon. Looking at the 5 golden tiger sharks gradually leaving, Longao finally breathed a sigh of relief. Human, I'm very puzzled. How did you escape the pursuit of the golden tiger shark? Longao, who was preparing to continue cultivating, shuddered when he heard the water dragon's words. He stared at the water dragon not far away. He was sure that the water dragon was talking to him. There was no other way. Since he was already discovered, Longao knew that he could only face it calmly. Longao did not hide anything when he arrived in front of the divine beast water dragon. He recounted everything that had happened in detail. After listening, the water dragon nodded and said, "You're a dragon warrior?" "That's right." Longao didn't hide anything from the water dragon, because if the water dragon sensed him, he would be in big trouble. The reason why Longao was like this was because he was confident that the divine beast water dragon would definitely not deal with him. Firstly, he was a dragon warrior, and Longchong himself was also a member of the dragon clan. He believed that the divine beast water dragon would not harm his own clan members. Secondly, from the beginning to the end, the water dragon did not have the slightest murderous intent towards Longao. That was why Longao was fearless. Otherwise, he would have gotten up and run away. The golden tiger shark's head is not small. I am unable to help you kill it. Please forgive me. The divine beast water dragon was so polite, causing Longao to feel a little embarrassed. He chuckled and said, "In the future, I will use my own strength to deal with him. Senior water dragon, I would like to borrow your place to cultivate." "No problem. When you've recovered, I have something to ask of you." Nodding his head, Longao did not hesitate. He immediately sat down cross-legged and began to quietly cultivate. He was really lucky to have met this divine beast water dragon. Not only was it kind, it was also very easy to talk to. Otherwise, it would have been very difficult for him to leave this outer sea. Longao's injuries were very serious. If he were to rely on himself to recover, he would need at least a month's time. However, the water dragon was obviously helping him. It directly shortened the time by 10 times. In just 3 days, Longao's injuries would be completely healed. Standing up and suppressing the joy in his heart, Longao said gratefully, "Senior, thank you for your help. Since you've recovered, then come with me. I'll bring you to a place." Nodding his head, Longao did not ask any more questions. Although there were countless divine beasts in the outer sea, the water dragon was one of the best. If he were to follow the water dragon, his safety would at least be guaranteed. Very far away. As a divine beast, the golden tiger shark's eyesight was quite powerful. Because of this, the golden tiger shark's face turned gloomy when he saw Longao following the water dragon. However, there was nothing he could do. The divine beast water dragon was not an existence he could fight against. However, the golden tiger shark was not worried at all. He did not believe that Longao could hide in the sea forever. As long as he left the water dragon, or left the seabed, he would have a chance to take action. "Father, are we just going to watch like this? This human is under the protection of the water dragon. We can't do anything." "Father, we can ask the old ancestor." Even the water dragon would be wary of the old ancestor. No, the old ancestor has reached a critical moment. No one is allowed to disturb the old ancestor. How could the golden tiger shark not know that the reason why the water dragon did not take action against the 5 of them was because it was afraid of the old ancestor's face? Otherwise, they would have all fallen by now. When the old ancestor was in seclusion, he had already instructed them to endure no matter what happened and wait for him to come out of seclusion. The golden tiger shark's eyes were deep and serene as he stared at the human and dragon in the distance. The golden tiger shark suddenly said, "When the old ancestor comes out of seclusion, it will be the day to kill you." Longao shuddered. He did not know if it was because he sensed something, but he suddenly turned around and looked at the seabed in the distance. He could not see anything, but he could clearly sense that there was a murderous aura in the distance. It was obviously aimed at him. The water dragon seemed to be a little surprised because he did not expect that Longao would suddenly sense it. Since the matter had already reached this point, the water dragon did not continue to hide and said, "The golden tiger shark already knows of your existence. You will be fine if you follow me, but once you leave me or return to the sea, the golden tiger shark will take action." Without waiting for Longao to speak, the water dragon continued, "The golden tiger shark has an old ancestor whose strength is above mine." The water dragon did not continue, but the meaning in his words was very clear. Longao also did not expect that the golden tiger shark would have an old ancestor. Since the golden tiger shark was a divine beast, could it be that the old ancestor was an earth god or sky god? Longao was very clear in his heart that no matter how strong the old ancestor of the golden tiger shark was, he was not his opponent. It seemed like this matter was troublesome. "Let's talk about this matter later. When the time comes, I will bring you away from the outer sea." Longao was not as happy as he imagined, because he did not know why, but he always had a bad premonition. All along, Longao did not want to believe that a meat pie would fall from the sky. Why was the water dragon so good to him? Longao was not narcissistic enough to think that the divine dragon would really help him. There must be some reason behind it, it was just that he did not know about it. However, since the matter had already reached this point, he could only take one step at a time. Who told him to be so weak that he was practically helpless against a divine beast? After walking for an unknown amount of time, the man and the dragon arrived in front of a crystal palace. The entire crystal palace was sparkling and translucent, clearly formed naturally. It was very beautiful. Longao could sense an extremely terrifying power from the crystal palace. It even surpassed the divine dragon's aura. P.S. I accidentally fell asleep last night. Today's Chapter 12. Today's Chapter 12 will be faster. Try not to drag it out until the night. Little 9 will update at night. It's more tiring than you think. There's no other way. People with families can't afford to be injured. Chapter 599. Senior Water Dragon. What is this place? Looking at the huge crystal palace in front of him, Longao did not know why the divine water dragon had brought him here. Someone wants to see you. Someone wants to see me? Who is it? However, the outer sea was a completely foreign place to him. This was the first time he had come to the outer sea since he was young. In that case, who wants to see me? Longao was not a fool. Of course, he could guess that this person was not simple at all. A person who could control the divine water dragon must be an extraordinary existence. In that case, why does this person want to see me? There was one thing that Longao did not understand. He had only been in the sea for a few days, and the divine water dragon had not left during that time. If that was the case, how did this person know about him? Longao felt that something was wrong. As for what was wrong, he could not tell at the moment. However, Longao was alert and vigilant at all times. You don't have to be nervous. If the senior wants to deal with you, he doesn't have to do it himself. I believe that there will be countless divine beasts willing to be his pawns. He swallowed his saliva hard. Longao was not a fool. Of course, he could understand what the divine water dragon meant. The more this was so, the more Longao was afraid. Because the most mysterious thing was often the most terrifying existence. Go in by yourself? Longao nodded. Since he was here, he did not shrink back. As the saying goes, counter soldiers with arms and water with an earthweir. Things had come to this point. If he did not enter the Crystal Palace, not to mention the owner of the Crystal Palace, the divine water dragon alone would not let him go. Stepping into the Crystal Palace, Longao shuddered. He became more and more afraid because he found that the aura of the Crystal Palace was too strong. Even the aura of the divine water dragon could not be compared to the Crystal Palace. He came to the front hall of the Crystal Palace. Longao bowed respectfully and said to the entire Crystal Palace, "I don't know which senior wants to see this junior. I'm already here. Senior, please come out and meet me." "You're here. Have a seat." An old man suddenly appeared at the front of the hall. He looked very ordinary. If this old man was placed in a crowd, he would not even cause a ripple. However, Longao did not underestimate the old man at all because he knew that the senior who suddenly appeared in front of him was 100% a supreme Tao warrior, and his strength was far beyond the divine beast water dragon. As for whether he was comparable to the five-clawed golden dragon or even the primordial divine dragon, it was unknown. As for the heavenly Tao, Longao did not even think about it. One had to know that the heavenly Tao was one of the most powerful existences in the world. Unless someone found the origin energy and successfully fused with it, only then would they have any hope of contending against the heavenly Tao. Otherwise, they could only cough. However, Longao was even more aware that all the core lands of the martial heaven continent were protected by the heavenly Tao's avatars. Furthermore, the heavenly Taos were in charge of the headquarters. Through the transportation channels, they could appear in any of the core lands at any time. This time, he was able to smoothly avoid this calamity entirely by relying on spatial teleportation. Otherwise, who could resist the heavenly Tao? I am the God Diviner. Are you Longao? The God Diviner? Longao didn't even have time to ask why the God Diviner was looking for him. Longao's expression suddenly changed. He had never imagined that the God Diviner would know his name. If it was someone who knew him and knew his name, then it would be fine. But Longao was 100% sure that he didn't know the divine mathematician in front of him. In that case, how did the divine mathematician know his name? Before Longao could ask, the God Diviner said, "Longao, you don't need to be so surprised. The reason I know your name is because I divined it myself." Divined it? This matter was becoming more and more complicated. Longao felt that something was wrong. The God Diviner was too mysterious. He didn't know where he came from, but it seemed like he knew him very well. "Senior God Diviner, I would like to ask how you divined my name." The God Diviner smiled. "I've been a fortune teller my entire life. If I hadn't divined the fate of the heavenly Taos back then, the heavenly Taos wouldn't have been able to find their core land and successfully merge with it. They would have reached the peak of the martial path and looked down on the martial heaven continent." Hearing this, Longao looked very indifferent on the surface, but his heart was already like the waves of the ocean, turning the world upside down. The shock in his heart could not be described with words. The heavenly Taos? Longao had never imagined that the God Diviner would have divined the fate of the heavenly Taos. According to the God Diviner, the reason the heavenly Taos had been able to become the heavenly Taos was all thanks to him. If that was the case, then the God Diviner was too amazing. Swallowing hard, Longao said, "Senior God Diviner, it seems you already know about my enmity with the heavenly Taos. Then what do you want to do? Let's get straight to the point." The God Diviner nodded with praise. "Longao, I know that the primordial divine dragon and Long Tian have already perished. As for you, being chosen by the dragon seal can count as your opportunity." Longao didn't say anything. He just sat there. The enmity between Long Tian and the heavenly Taos originally shouldn't involve you. However, since this is your opportunity, you have to face it. Chapter 600. The Peak of the Martial Path. Longao yearned to reach the peak of the martial path. Not to mention Longao, it was believed that the peak of martial arts was a realm that every martial artist yearned to reach even in their dreams. Longao, I have divined everything under the heavens. No one can't be divined. Even if it's heaven's fate, I can still divine it clearly. However, there is only one person in this world that I cannot divine. Is it the heavenly Tao? Shaking his head, Master Godly Diviner said helplessly, "It's you." "It's me?" Longao was shocked. He was well aware of Master Godly Diviner's strength. He was an existence that surpassed the heavenly Tao, divining everything under the heavens, even the fate of the heavens. What kind of concept was that? Longao didn't ask, nor did he speak. He knew that Master Godly Diviner had called him here because he had something to say. "Longao, this old man can count everyone as me, but only you. Do you know why this is? I don't know. Please tell me. From the moment you rose to prominence in Tianzhou, I suddenly felt a strange phenomenon. It was also at that moment that the dragon seal chose you as its master. So I began to pay attention to you. I tried 3 times to divine your fate, but in the end I was powerless. Longao really didn't know what Master Godly Diviner was talking about. What about fate? From beginning to end, Longao didn't believe in such things. He said, "My fate is in my own hands. No one can control my fate." Good. Master Godly Diviner's face was full of praise. My fate is up to me, not the heavens. But in this world, how many people can escape the arrangement of fate? Even the heavens and I are the same. Since you have already obtained the power of the origin, then with your talent, you will be able to step into the peak of martial arts in 100 years. 100 years was a very long time, even for a martial artist. However, Longao wasn't afraid. He had a lover, family, brothers, and many challenges. Longao, I can't see your fate, but there is one thing I must remind you. Fate has already been decided and cannot be forced. Otherwise, the consequences will be unimaginable. Longao didn't say much. It was still the same sentence. My life is in my own hands, not in the hands of the heavens. Senior God Diviner, why have you called me here? Longao was no fool, and he knew that Master God Diviner had come looking for him for no reason at all. Longao, the reason why I'm looking for you is very simple. Back then, I single-handedly helped the Heavenly Tao, but I was seriously injured for some reason, and the Heavenly Tao still doesn't know about it. Longao was well aware of this. Although the Heavenly Tao had been created by Master God Diviner, he was still the only threat to the Heavenly Tao. As the saying goes, every man for himself, and the devil takes the hindmost. The Heavenly Tao naturally wanted to eradicate Master God Diviner and dominate the continent. Longao could also imagine that if the Heavenly Tao knew that the God Diviner had been severely injured, it would definitely try to destroy the Heavenly Tao. That would be the end of all future troubles. Master God Diviner was simply too terrifying. Not only was he strong enough to fight back against the Tao of Heaven, he was also skilled in the Tao of Divine Augury. It was like whether or not Master God Diviner was injured had nothing to do with him. Seeing Longao's doubts, Master God Diviner said, "Longao, with my current strength, I can't fight against the Heavenly Tao. If the Heavenly Tao does something that oversteps its bounds, I won't be able to do anything. Furthermore, the martial heaven continent cannot be ruled by one person. Otherwise, as long as the Heavenly Tao wants it, it can destroy the continent at any time." Senior God Diviner, I just said that if you have something to say, just say it. If I can't agree to it, I won't refuse. But if I can't, then no matter what, I won't agree. Seeing Master God Diviner's hesitant expression, Longao felt a headache. No matter what it was, Master God Diviner should have just said it. Nodding, Master God Diviner suddenly said, "I'm preparing to teach you the Tao of Divine Augury." Hearing Master God Diviner's words, Longao was startled. He had guessed countless possibilities, but the biggest one was that Master God Diviner wanted him to destroy the Heavenly Das. He hadn't expected Master God Diviner to talk about this matter. Even so, Longao wasn't the slightest bit careless. He knew that there was no free lunch in this world. Master God Diviner wouldn't teach him the Tao of Divine Augury for no reason. Even if someone else told him the details, he wouldn't believe it. Master God Diviner had other plans. Longao, I can teach you the Tao of Divine Augury, but I can't help you reach the peak of the martial path. As for whether or not you can reach that point in the future, that will depend on your luck. Longao didn't say anything. He just listened. If you can reach the peak of the martial path, I hope that you can suppress the Heavenly Taos. I've already divined that the Heavenly Tao will destroy the martial heaven continent in the future. As for whether or not it can be destroyed, that will depend on you. Me, correct. I've already divined that the continent has a chance to survive. As for who will be the savior of the continent, I can't tell. However, I can only choose one person. So I chose you. So that's how it was. First it was the primordial divine dragon and Long Tian. Now it was Master God Diviner. It seemed he would have to fight the heavenly Das. If it was an ordinary person, Longao might have some confidence. However, this was the heavenly Das, the continent's #1 expert. If he relaxed even slightly, the heavenly Das would send him back home. Sighing deeply, Longao knew he had no other choice. He could only agree. Then he curiously asked, Senior God Diviner, the Tao of divine augury you spoke of, can it be divined for anything? No. There are 3 things you can't divine. First, you can't divine fate. Second, you can't divine yourself. Third, you can't divine fate. You are a person of fate. In order to know your fate, I forcibly divined your fate. That's why I'm injured. So that's how it was. He was truly speechless that he couldn't do it. However, Longao was very much looking forward to the Tao of divine augury. He knew that once he cultivated it, he would at least be able to divine when his family was in danger in the future. Longao, cultivating the Tao of divine augury will also be beneficial to your cultivation. Now, you should quietly comprehend it. Before Longao could react, a terrifying power appeared in his mind. Not daring to be careless, Longao immediately began to comprehend it. He knew that he only had one chance. He had to seize this once-in-a-lifetime opportunity. After a full 6 hours, Master God Diviner let out a sigh of relief. He weakly said, I have imparted the essence of the Tao of divine augury to you. As for whether you can comprehend it and reach the end, that will depend on your luck. Many thanks to Senior God Diviner. You and I are fated. I will teach you the method to open the Primal Chaos Stone Tablet. I hope you can comprehend the martial skills within. Chapter 601. The Primal Chaos Stone Tablets. Longao didn't feel the slightest bit of surprise. Master God Diviner was said to be able to calculate everything in the world. Then the matter of him obtaining the Primal Chaos Stone Tablets couldn't be hidden from him. Senior Master God Diviner, I really want to ask, just what do the 12 Primal Chaos Stone Tablets represent? Longao had always been curious about the Primal Chaos Stone Tablets. He didn't know just what they were. Longao, it is said that there are 12 Primal Chaos Stone Tablets in the world. Anyone who obtains them can become the strongest existence in the world. Even the heavenly Daos haven't obtained a single Primal Chaos Stone Tablet. According to my guess, the 12 Primal Chaos Stone Tablets don't belong to the martial heaven continent. They come from the Primal Chaos space, the place where the core energy is. So that's how it was. Each of the 12 Primal Chaos Stone Tablets contains a supreme cultivation technique and martial skill. Longao, I still don't know that the Primal Chaos Stone Tablet you possess contains martial skills and cultivation techniques. Longao was also looking forward to the martial skills and cultivation techniques within the Primal Chaos Stone Tablets. Now that Longao had the 9 Revolution Samsara art, he didn't care about cultivation techniques. The only thing he wanted were martial skills. If even Master God Diviner said so, then the martial skills within the Primal Chaos Stone Tablets had to be extremely powerful. However, Longao's only headache was that no matter how hard he tried, he was unable to comprehend the martial skills within the Primal Chaos Stone Tablets. Senior Master God Diviner, how should I comprehend the Primal Chaos Stone Tablets? Just now, I sensed that since the Primal Chaos Stone Tablets have already recognized you as their master, then it should only be a matter of time before you comprehend the martial skills within. When had the Primal Chaos Stone Tablets recognized him as their master? Longao, I can't help you comprehend the Primal Chaos Stone Tablets, but I can remind you of one thing. If you want to comprehend the martial skills as quickly as possible, you have to comprehend the natural world. That will be of great help to you in comprehending the Primal Chaos Stone Tablets. Nodding, Longao made a mental note of this. Before Longao could ask any more questions, Master God Diviner waved his hand. I'm going into secluded meditation to recuperate, he said weakly. I won't be coming out for a while. I hope you can focus on the Tao of divination. Go. Seeing that Master God Diviner didn't want to talk about it, Longao didn't ask any questions. Turning, he left. In the empty crystal palace, Master God Diviner sighed helplessly. I shouldn't have become a Tao of Heaven, and now I shouldn't have become a Longao. Was I right or was I wrong? Even the water dragon had to call the divine mathematician, sir. One could imagine how terrifying the divine mathematician's strength was. I have met him. The water dragon didn't ask any more questions. It nodded faintly and said, Sir Divine Mathematician said that you came from the 9 continents and asked me to send you back later. Are you going to leave now, or will you leave later? Longao was delighted. He couldn't wait to leave and return to the 9 continents. Because of this, Longao immediately said, Senior Water Dragon, I hope you can send me back now. Okay, clean and direct. He never spoke sloppily. At this time, Longao was enveloped by a terrifying aura. Before Longao could react, his entire body disappeared. Teleportation channel. Longao never thought that there would be a teleportation channel in the ocean. He thought that the water dragon would personally escort him back to the 9 continents. But now, it was even better. At least he could return in the shortest time possible. Longao was very worried about the safety of the 9 continents, especially his family and sect. So, he couldn't wait to return. In the next second, Longao appeared in Tianzhou. He wasn't surprised at all. The divine mathematician could calculate everything in the world. He came from Tianzhou and believed that the divine mathematician could calculate everything. So, the divine dragon directly sent him back to Tianzhou. It wasn't until the moment he landed that Longao let out a sigh of relief. It had been 3 months since he was attacked by the beast tide and entered the outer sea for no reason. Longao knew very well that a lot could happen in 3 months. Moreover, the beast tide had invaded the 9 continents. He didn't know how the 9 continents were now. P.S. There are too many things to do today. I'll update 2 more chapters later. The 6 chapters 10, plus the 5 chapters I'll restore tomorrow. There will be a total of 11 chapters tomorrow. Everyone has things to do. Plus, Little 9 already has a family. Chapter 602. 9 States. As soon as Longao returned to Tianzhou, he immediately flew towards the Long family. Actually, on the way back, Longao already knew that 9 states was fine. If there were no accidents, the 4 major forces would have closed the transmission channel in time when the beast horde invaded 9 states. Otherwise, the consequences would have been unimaginable. The news of Longao's return to the Long family instantly spread throughout the Longao peak. Everyone cheered because the 4 major forces had released the news that Longao had died in the forbidden area of the beast horde. For 3 whole months, there was no news of Longao. Everyone was incomparably worried, but many people did not believe that Longao was dead. Indeed, Longao still came back in the end. As soon as Longao returned to the Long family, he did not even have time to talk to his family when he sensed that someone was calling him. And this person was none other than the old ancestor, Long Batian. In the cave. Old ancestor, you're looking for me? Nodding, Long Batian smiled and said, This time you went to the forbidden area of the beast horde. What did you gain? Longao did not want to hide anything from the old ancestor. He told him in detail about the outer sea. As for the oracle, he did not mention a word. Heavenly Tao? You've seen the Heavenly Tao? No. Then, Longao told him about the Heavenly Tao. As for the origin energy, he did not say anything. No matter what, it was useless for the old ancestor to know this. Aor, no matter what, if you encounter the Heavenly Tao in the future, remember, do not fight it head-on, understand? The old ancestor's words made Longao's heart skip a beat. If he was not wrong, the old ancestor knew about the existence of the Heavenly Tao. But after thinking about it, the old ancestor was a heavenly god martial artist, not to mention a rebirth martial artist. It would be strange if he did not know about the Heavenly Tao. Aor, you know? Longao naturally knew what the ancestor was asking and nodded. Ancestor, I want to ask, how many times have you reincarnated? Long Fu had already told Longao that Long Batian was a rebirth realm martial artist. However, Longao was very curious as to how many rebirth realms his ancestor was a martial artist. After all, the more rebirth realms one had, the stronger one was. It could be said that for a nihility god realm martial artist, the concept of reincarnation once and reincarnation 9 times was completely different. If he could reincarnate 9 times, he might even break through to the heavenly god realm. Long Ao did not know in his heart whether the old ancestor's previous life was an ordinary divine Tao martial artist or a celestial deity martial artist. Long Batian didn't seem to want to continue hiding. 6 times. My grass. Long Ao cursed in his heart. Of course, he knew what it meant to be reincarnated 6 times. Long Batian was a 9 rebirth realm martial artist, and the old ancestor was a 6 rebirth realm martial artist. No matter who it was not something an ordinary person could achieve. I know what you want to ask, but I can only tell you that even if I have reached the 6 rebirth realms, I am still not invincible. Because in this world, there are too many people who are stronger than me. Therefore, I will continue to reincarnate later. With a deep sigh, Long Ao knew that if the old ancestor continued to reincarnate, it would be a whole 7 rebirth realms. It seemed like the old ancestor was staking everything on this one throw and wanted to give it a try. Old ancestor, how confident are you? 50%. However, with your help, I have a 99% chance of succeeding in the 7 rebirth realms. How can I help? Long Ao was very curious. He didn't know how the old ancestor needed his help. If it was possible, he would help no matter what. Because the stronger the old ancestor was, the better it would be for the family. Aoer, it's very simple. When the time comes, I need your aura to enter my divine soul. When I succeed in reincarnating, you can use your divine soul to find me and help me awaken my divine soul at the fastest speed. I see. This kind of thing could be said to be a piece of cake for Long Ao. Therefore, Long Ao didn't even think about it and nodded his head in agreement. At this moment, Long Ao suddenly saw his grandfather at the side. He was overjoyed because he had already guessed his grandfather's current situation. Refining the divine path inheritance. Looking at the old ancestor in front of him, Long Ao thanked him. Thank you, old ancestor. I wonder how long it will take for my grandfather to completely refine the divine path inheritance. After a month, your grandfather will be able to completely refine the divine path inheritance. However, to achieve the divine path position, it will take at least 1 year. At least 1 year, and at most 3 years. Whether it was 1 year or 3 years, Long Ao was pleasantly surprised because he was sure of one thing. His grandfather was about to become a divine path martial artist. Not only could he extend his life indefinitely, but he would also become the first divine path martial artist in the family. Aoer, your grandfather's talent and physique are limited. Therefore, even with my help, he will only be able to break through to the great emperor realm. He swallowed his saliva fiercely. In just 3 months, his grandfather had officially broken through to the great emperor realm. Such cultivation speed had already surpassed countless people. However, in the eyes of the old ancestor, his grandfather's cultivation speed seemed to be very slow and didn't meet the requirements at all. As if he could see the doubts in Long Ao's heart, Long Batian smiled and said, Aoer, if you accept the divine path inheritance, with my help, I am confident that your cultivation can instantly break through to the titled Great Emperor realm. You can even reach the divine path realm within 3 months. Long Ao absolutely believed in this point. Firstly, he had the desolate sacred body. As long as he had enough power, it seemed that the bottleneck in the realm wouldn't be a problem at all. Secondly, with the help of the old ancestor, breaking through to the great emperor realm wouldn't be a problem at all. However, Long Ao didn't have the slightest regret. As everyone knew, once a martial artist accepted the divine path inheritance, he wouldn't be able to continue to break through to a higher realm for the rest of his life. This was undoubtedly a huge blow to him. Therefore, Long Ao decided that no matter what kind of divine path inheritance, even if it was the divine path inheritance, he would refuse and not accept it. Old ancestor, When are you going to enter the reincarnation path? I don't know yet. After 6 reincarnations, I have gradually touched a trace of the rules. Therefore, as long as I cooperate with the right time, place, and people, I believe that I will definitely succeed. Longao shrugged helplessly. He seemed to have thought of something and suddenly asked, Old Ancestor, if you don't enter the reincarnation path and choose to absorb the spiritual energy instead, will you be able to break through quickly? Longao suddenly thought of the grave of the gods, because there were thousands of spiritual energy there. If the old ancestor could really absorb it and get a few more divine path inheritances, then there was no doubt that there would be more divine path martial artists in the family. Just thinking about it made him excited. At this moment, Longbatian asked, Ao, are you talking about the legendary grave of the gods? Chapter 603. Nodding, it seemed that the old ancestor also knew about the grave of the gods. Ao, don't ask about the grave of the gods anymore. Old ancestor, why is that? Hearing the old ancestor's words, Long Ao's heart skipped a beat. He seemed to know something. Ao, I can tell you that the grave of the gods is not something you can interfere with. Even the Long family has to think twice. Otherwise, after so many years, the grave of the gods would have been occupied. So that was it. Long Ao had always been curious why the grave of the gods had not been discovered after so many years. Could it be that he was really lucky? And there were the souls of the Long family in the grave of the gods. With the Long family's strength, they should have found the grave of the gods long ago. But why didn't the Long family make a move? At this moment, Long Ao finally understood the real reason. Although the old ancestor did not say it explicitly, the meaning was clear. There was a super force behind the grave of the gods. Since that was the case, Long Ao did not continue to dwell on it. After chatting with Long Batian for a while, he got up and left the cave. As for his grandfather, the old ancestor had just said that it would take at least a month for his grandfather to refine the divine Tao inheritance. At that time, his grandfather would be a great emperor. What did this mean? His grandfather's breakthrough meant that he would become the first great emperor of the Long family. Long Ao returned to the family and immediately went to find his parents in Aoshua. Because he had been missing for 3 months, the entire Long family was worried to death. The news of Long Ao's sudden return seemed to have grown wings. In a short day, it had already spread throughout the 9 states, including the ears of the 9 states' spirit realm's 4 major forces. At the beginning, the 4 major forces did not believe it at all. Without exception, the 4 major forces sent people into Tianzhou to inquire about Long Ao's return. The 4 major forces could not imagine how Long Ao could return to the family when he had died in the beast tide. Could it be that Long Ao was really not dead? As expected, the people sent by the 4 great powers all came back to report that Long Ao was not dead and had returned to the Long family. At this moment, the 4 great forces were completely shocked because no one believed that Long Ao really hadn't died and had instead swaggered back. Although he didn't place Long Ao in his eyes, Long Ao was still a problem. If Long Ao wanted to take revenge, the 4 major forces would suffer heavy losses. Long Ao's return completely threw the 4 great forces into chaos. 9 states spirit realm, Long family's main hall. Family head, Long Ao is indeed not dead. He is now in the Long family. How should we deal with him? Waving his hand, Long Mouant did not seem to care about Long Ao at all. He said coldly, so what if he's not dead? Because when Long Ao made a scene in the ethereal palace and escaped safely, the news had spread throughout the 9 states. It was also at that time that the ethereal palace lost its face. Originally, they thought that Long Ao was dead, but Feng Wui and Lu Buming didn't expect that Long Ao would return safely. The 2 of them, like the others, couldn't figure out how Long Ao could survive the beast tide and only appear after 3 months. No one knew about Long Ao's matters. Feng Wui and Lu Buming didn't speak because they saw a trace of ruthlessness in each other's eyes. When they received the news that Long Ao had returned, they had already decided that no matter what happened this time, they would kill Long Ao and get rid of all future troubles. However, The two of them were not fools. Of course, they wouldn't do it themselves. They didn't know if it was discussed or not, but the four major forces sent out their respective sects and families to test first. The four major forces were ready to make a move. Longao had already received the news, but he didn't pay attention to the four major forces. This time, Longao had already decided that even if the four major forces didn't come to him, he would go to them. Sooner or later, he would have to pay for what he did. Once the four great forces opened the teleportation channel, the corpse demon army would invade spirit realm from all sides. Although all the teleportation channels were closed and the corpse demon army could not enter the spirit realm of the 9 states, Longao did not miss this opportunity. He led the dragon sect and immediately began to sweep through the 9 states. Longao knew very well that if he wanted to fight against the four major forces, just relying on the corpse slave army was not enough. This was because the four major forces had existed for so long, and their foundation was there. It was not something that the dragon sect could catch up with in a short time. It was precisely because of this that Longao was still prepared to deal with the 9 states first and develop the dragon sect's power. Due to the dragon sect's actions of shutting down all the teleportation portals, the four major forces had lost all face. Even so, the four major forces dared not utter a single word. After all, the four major forces knew very well what an army of 1 million corpses represented. Longao's strategy was very simple. On one hand, he would guard the teleportation channel and wait for the four major forces to open it. On the other hand, he would control the 9 states and make the dragon sect the true overlord of the 9 states. At this time, Longao chose to be ruthless. Wherever the dragon sect went, there would be bloody suppression. No matter who it was, anyone who did not submit would be killed without mercy. In a short time, Longao could easily control the 9 states, but there was also a drawback. Bloody suppression, countless people would be unhappy with the dragon sect. Even if they accepted the space in a short time, there would be unavoidable consequences. Once there was a chance, these so-called families and sects would definitely resist. Longao had already guessed this problem, but at this time, there was no other way. He could only choose bloody suppression. Dragon sect, main hall. Everyone was pleasantly surprised by Longao's return. It was still the same sentence. When everyone found out that Longao had died in the Beast-Tide Forbidden Area, their first reaction was that the sky was falling. Fortunately, the four great forces only knew about internal strife at this time and did not attack the dragon sect. Otherwise, one could imagine what would happen to the dragon sect. However, everything was over. Longao had returned to the dragon sect in the end. This way, even if the four major forces returned, they would not have to worry. Longao was the soul of the dragon sect. Everyone had not reacted to the master's sudden action until now, because they never expected that the master would first send out an army of corpses to attack the four major forces as soon as he returned. Then, he would directly start a bloody suppression of the 9 states. It was precisely because of this that everyone was very worried. Aotion the Ghost King said directly, "Sovereign, this time, we have bloodily suppressed the 9 states and accumulated a lot of hatred. If the forces that originally supported us change sides, we will be in a lot of trouble." How could Longao not know about the Ghost King's worries? The Snake Emperor stood out and said, "That may not be the case. This is the best time for us to develop quickly. Once the four major forces react, our advantage will no longer exist. At that time, the 9 states will not be able to unify, and we will be in a passive position. Therefore, I choose to support the master." Gradually, everyone began to divide into 2 factions. Some supported the Ghost King, and some supported the Snake Emperor. Waving his hand, the main hall instantly calmed down. After coughing twice, Longao suddenly said, "If nothing unexpected happens, we will soon start a war with the 4 major forces. At that time, the 9 states will still be in a state of disunity. It will be difficult for us to gain the upper hand in Zhanjiang City with just the army of corpses." Seeing that no one was speaking, Longao continued, bloody suppression. There are a lot of repercussions. I know this in my heart, but we have no other choice. When the time comes, we can only block soldiers with arms and water with earth. The master's meaning was very clear. Everyone could only agree. The four major forces have sealed all the teleportation channels. In a short period of time, it will be difficult for us to attack the 9 states' spirit domain. Therefore, we must think of a way to pry open the teleportation channels as soon as possible and attack the 9 states' spirit domain. Before the 4 major forces react, we can take the initiative. Things had already reached this stage. Everyone knew that the sect had to stake everything on this one throw. Otherwise, they would be doomed eternally. Master, then what should we do? All the teleportation channels were controlled by the 4 major forces. Therefore, prying open the teleportation channels was not an easy task. After thinking for a while, Longao said, I will inform you tomorrow. Today, everyone must be 120% alert. I will say the same thing again. Those who are not convinced will be killed immediately. P.S. I have nothing to do in the afternoon. I can write in peace. Chapter 605. Looking at the master in front of them, they didn't know why, but they felt that the master seemed to have changed. After leaving the hall, Longao walked towards the forbidden grounds at the back of the mountain. Other than Longao, no one dared to step into the forbidden grounds at the back of the mountain. Everyone knew that the dragon sect had a great emperor-level super-existence. It was because of this person that the dragon sect was able to survive when the 4 major forces attacked them. Big brother Qilin, how are your injuries? Longao was very concerned about Qilin's injuries because the stronger Qilin was, the more benefits it would bring to the sect. Moreover, Longao had already acknowledged Fire Qilin as a friend. The Fire Qilin shook its head helplessly. When it thought of its injuries, it felt very depressed. It said helplessly, I thought that with the spiritual herbs you found for me, I could recover to my original strength. However, I never thought that my injuries would still be unable to recover to their peak. Longao had already guessed this. Although the Qilin clan was the strongest clan in the world, it had its advantages and disadvantages. Big brother Qilin, what if I can help you recover to your peak in the shortest time possible? What's the matter? Since things had already come to this point, Longao had to be honest and said, Big brother Qilin, I have returned this time to take revenge on the 4 major forces. When the time comes, I will need Big brother Qilin's help. It was no secret that the 4 major forces had great emperor-level martial artists. Longao had also thought about this. He and the 4 major forces would go to war sooner or later. Once the war started, they would use their foundation. No one knew if the great emperor-level martial artists would participate in the war in the end. Prevention was better than cure. Longao didn't dare to gamble and couldn't gamble. Because of this, he was prepared to help Fire Qilin recover to his peak strength. This way, with Fire Qilin in the sect and his grandfather in the family, they could protect themselves. In fact, Longao had already thought about it. If the sect were to go to war with the 4 major forces, his grandfather would be the master. At that time, the 2 great emperors would be able to ignore any force. As for the family, Longao had already thought about it. The old ancestor wouldn't enter the reincarnation cycle for the time being. In this case, with the old ancestor in the family, even if the imperial city, the ethereal palace, the nether mansion, and the 3rd grade Long family joined forces, the old ancestor wouldn't put them in his eyes. This was the divine Tao. This was the most powerful existence in the world. Although Longao knew that there was still the peak of martial arts above the divine Tao, in the eyes of ordinary people, divine Tao martial artists were already godlike existences. Longao, there's no need for me to hide our relationship. It's very difficult to recover my true body's strength, unless there's a way. Devouring the souls of great emperors? This is the first point. Apart from that, I also need a large amount of blood. Otherwise, it will be very difficult for me to reach the peak of my true body's strength. Big brother Qilin, what kind of blood are you talking about? The blood of sacred beasts. So that's how it is. Longao nodded and said, "I'll help you look after the souls of great emperors. As for the blood of sacred beasts, it's very easy. I'll prepare it for you later." Longao was very depressed about the souls of great emperors. Therefore, Longao was going to help the Fire Qilin get the so-called blood of sacred beasts. While suppressing the 9 states, he cultivated with all his might and comprehended the so-called Tao of divination. The Tao of divination seemed simple, but it was actually very difficult to comprehend. As time passed, Longao became more and more shocked. This was because he slowly realized that the Tao of divination was all-encompassing and ever-changing. It was very profound. Crimson State. Following the complete defeat of the 4 major forces, the forces in the Crimson State were also completely massacred by the Dragon Sect. From then on, the 99 Steps of Heaven belonged to the Dragon Sect. However, Longao wasn't stingy. Apart from the disciples of the Dragon Sect, anyone who belonged to the Dragon Sect would have a chance to climb the 99 Steps of Heaven. Many people were very satisfied with Longao's decision. However, with the continuous bloody suppression of the Dragon Sect, more and more people were dissatisfied with the Dragon Sect. However, due to the powerful forces of the Dragon Sect, they could only endure. In the end, the bloody suppression of the Dragon Sect this time was definitely the biggest hidden danger in the future. However, things had already reached this point. Longao really couldn't care about anything else. This was because he didn't know when the 4 major forces would open the transmission channel. He also didn't know when he would start a war with the 4 major forces. Therefore, he had to be prepared. On the 99 Steps of Heaven, Longao stood on the first step and looked at the highest point of Cloud City. At this moment, Longao's body suddenly moved. For some reason, Longao really wanted to step on the 99 Steps of Heaven again and see Yigudu. Until now, he still didn't know who Yigudu was. Longao had also asked many people who Yigudu was. However, without exception, no one knew who Yigudu was. Longao could almost say that Yigudu was very powerful. He even had a feeling that Yigudu's strength was not inferior to Longtian and the primordial divine dragon. It was even close to the heavenly Tao. Moreover, Yigudu had created the 99 Steps of Heaven. This in itself already showed how powerful this person was. Could Yigudu be the heavenly Tao? Thinking of this possibility, Longao smiled. No matter how he thought about it, he still couldn't figure out who Yigudu was. Longao was prepared to step on the 99 Steps of Heaven again. When the time came, the truth would be revealed. With his previous experience, Longao easily reached the 80th step of the Heaven Stairway. However, after reaching the 81st step of the Heaven Stairway, Longao felt that he could not bear it anymore. Even though he had successfully reached the peak of the Heaven Stairway the first time, the second time was still so difficult. Longao's cultivation had already broken through to become a beginner saint. It was because of this that he wanted to make use of the pressure of the steps of heaven to stabilize his cultivation as a beginner saint. If he was lucky, he might be able to break through to become a middle saint. Longao was well aware that although he had already broken through to become a beginner sage, he still had a long way to go before he could reach the illusionary divine stage. The only thing he had to do now was to break through to the peak of the sage realm as quickly as possible. 98 steps of the heaven stairway. Longao was already exhausted and even injured. He was only left with one more step. If others knew that Longao had already reached the top of the steps of heaven twice, what would they think? Finally, Longao stepped on the 99th step. It was also at this moment that Longao felt that the pressure around him had disappeared. There was no breakthrough in his cultivation, but he had completely stabilized his cultivation as a beginner saint. This was a very exciting thing. When he reached the top of the steps of heaven, Longao looked at the clouds around him. Until now, he was still very shocked. Who exactly was Yigudu? How could he create 99 steps of heaven? You're tuning in to the Warrior Lore YouTube channel. Don't forget to subscribe and join us on this journey to catch the most captivating stories.